Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku never got one for all part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story Grathaut from WhatIf. So let's start the video. These are the words that echo trough the mind of Izuku Midoriya, a young middle schooler who, like a 20% of population, doesn't possess a quirk. Because of that, he now spent over 10 years of his life belittled and bullied by his peers. Stupid jerks, who do they think they are? All I want is to help people, so why are they doing this to me? Izuku thought, walking back home from school with bruised cheek and slightly torn clothes. He slowly walked towards his home silent city streets with his head down, trying not to cry. Izuku finally reached his home and slowly opened the door. "I'm home," Izuku weakly shouted. "Welcome back, Lil B." A person Izuku was well acquainted with shouted. A teenage boy with black hair and red eyes wearing high school uniform then came to Izuku's field of vision. "3, you're home early today, 𝗃𝗃𝗁," Izuku said with faint smile. This is 𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗁, Izuku's cousin. He joined Izuku's family when Izuku was just 2 years old. 𝗃𝗃𝗁's parents were murdered when he was 5 years old, and because Izuku's mother was his only remaining relative, she became 𝗃𝗃𝗁's caretaker. Over the years, 𝗃𝗃𝗁 and Izuku formed very strong bond as brothers, and right now, 𝗃𝗃𝗁 is second year at UA High School. "Yeah, ectoplasm let us go early since teachers had some urgent meeting or whatever. More importantly, what the hell happened to your face?" "Oh, this," Izuku said, pointing at his bruised cheek. "It's nothing to worry about, big bro. They are at it again, aren't they?" 𝗃𝗃𝗁 asked with narrow eyes. "It doesn't matter. Yes it does, Izuku." 𝗃𝗃𝗁 cut him off mid-sentence. "We talked about this. Even if you are quirkless, it doesn't mean they can push you around like this," he said, looking at silent Izuku. 𝗃𝗃𝗁 sighed. "I'll go deal with them," he said. "No," Izuku yelled. "It's fine. This doesn't concern you. You already need to keep an eye out because of your quirk. The last thing you need is to deal with problems of some quirkless nobody." "You are not a nobody, Izuku. You are my brother, damn it." "I know, but please don't do this. No matter what you do, it will just make things worse, so please just stop," Izuku said, his voice shaking a bit. 𝗃𝗃𝗁 sighed once again and put his hand on Izuku's shoulder. "Fine, but we have to get that bruise patched up." Izuku nodded with small relieved smile and followed his brother into his room. "All right, sit on the bed while I bring first aid," 𝗃𝗃𝗁 said and left to bathroom. And so for next 30 minutes, 𝗃𝗃𝗁 ended up patching up his brother, since he had few more injuries beneath his clothes too. "Thanks, big bro. I don't think I could patch myself like this on my own," Izuku said with wide smile. 𝗃𝗃𝗁 gently smiled and patted his brother's back. "All right, if that's so, then I deserve a reward," he said, pointing to the corner of the room where it was. It was old guitar that Izuku found around a year ago in dumpster. It was missing few string back then, but Izuku bought a new ones with some money he had saved up, and now it sounded just like a completely new guitar. "You got it, big bro," Izuku said and grabbed the guitar. He checked if it was tuned correctly and started playing. "You know, it's pretty irritating that your songs are amazing, but also knowing the reason why they are is because you are in pain. It's still not good enough though, not for me at least," Izuku said with his head down. "Don't be like that. You are still young, and something like playing an instrument isn't something you will learn perfectly in just a year." 𝗃𝗃𝗁 said. "I guess you are right. I still have time to learn," Izuku said smiling. "That's the spirit. Also don't forget that we are brothers and brothers always stick together." Izuku nodded. "Yeah." Both of them then kept sitting in awkward silence for few minutes before Izuku finally said something. "I just noticed, those aren't your normal gloves, are they?" "Oh, these," 𝗃𝗃𝗁 said and held out his left hand. "Yeah, there is this one crazy girl in support course that made them for me. Her name was Maya Hatsum, if I recall. She said they are made from some special fiber that I shouldn't be able to decay with my quirk. So far they work like a charm if I say so myself," 𝗃𝗃𝗁 said and chuckled. "3, I can't believe what I am hearing. Are you actually saying something nice about other people? Alright, who are you and what did you do to my brother? Izuku said with sly smirk. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, I don't think everybody is garbage, only most people that I know. Tenko said, looking away with slight blush. Izuku of course noticed it, but stayed silent. So that's how it is, he thought. I am home. A female voice could be heard through the apartment. This voice belonged to Izuku's mom 𝗵𝗃𝗀. She works at hospital. Unfortunately, Izuku's father abandoned them just few months after Izuku was born, so she is almost never home in order to cover her family's expenses. Welcome home, Izuku and Tenko shouted together. It was night time and Izuku was laying on his bed. Finally, another day of middle school behind. Only one more year and a bit to survive and I'll be free. Izuku thought with small smile. Maybe 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 will be better. I wonder if she would like to go somewhere. Another few days have passed and Izuku was standing near cake shop in 𝗳𝗏 Prefecture. Izuku texted his girlfriend to meet him there. He thought it has been some time since they went on a date and it's been already 2 months since they got together, which was something he thought was something to celebrate. Of course, Izuku didn't say anything about that, mainly because she recently started avoiding him whenever he would ask her out, so he thought it would work better if he just said he wanted to talk. I've been here for 20 minutes and she is still nowhere to be seen. I wonder if she even bothered to read my message. Izuku thought. Izuku waited around for another few minutes before he saw her, slowly walking towards him in the distance. A girl with brown hair and eyes he knew very well approached him. This is Ochako Uraraka, Izuku's girlfriend. She used to be the only person outside of Izuku's family that was kind to him. However, about a month after they started dating, Ochako started to mistreat Izuku. Sometimes it was just ghosting, sometimes it was verbal abuse. You didn't need to be genius to realize that their relationship really went downhill. For why Izuku didn't break up with her, you ask? It's because Izuku doesn't want to accept the fact that only girl he ever loved really turned out this way. Hey Deku! Ochako yelled. Hey there Ochako! Izuku said with timid voice. So, you said you wanted to talk. Out with it. Ochako said with harsh, demanding tone. I just thought it's pretty outside today, so I figured we could go out together. Izuku said, oblivious to her disdain. Ochako looked at his with displeasure. Is that seriously all? You called me out there just for that? Look, I really don't have time for you Deku, so bye. She said and turned around, almost going away. That's all that Izuku got out of his mouth. Hey wait. Without thinking, Izuku grabbed Ochako's hand. What's going on Ochako? Why do you keep avoiding me? Did I do something? Just tell me so I can fix it. Izuku said, desperate for answers. Ochako used her zero-gravity quirk on him and broke out of Izuku's grasp. This is none of your business Deku, just leave me alone and don't annoy me with this nonsense. She said and pushed Izuku away. Izuku flew through the air for few seconds. Paralyzed from shock, but then Ochako's quirk stopped working, making Izuku fall on his back. Ugh, that hurt. Izuku thought as he looked around, realizing that Ochako isn't there anymore. What's going on with her? I just wanted to make things right. Or did I say something that freaked her out so much? After he got ditched by his girlfriend, Izuku decided to go home. He knew that Ochako won't open up to him anytime soon, so it would be best to leave her alone like she wanted. Although, he was still trying to figure out what was happening with her lately. You are really nice Izuku. I like you. Let's become heroes together. Why is she so distant all of a sudden? Ever since we started dating, she is like a completely different person. Izuku thought, laying in his bed. This is none of your business Deku. Maybe she really just needs some space. In the meantime I could start learning playing piano too. Tenko keeps telling me that I am natural for music, so since I don't have anybody to spend my time with, I might as well try something new. It has been around a month since Izuku begun learning how to play piano. Sure enough, Tenko was right about his musical talent after all. Izuku was going to the mall, where an old man played on piano to entertain people, but Izuku used this opportunity to observe how the man can play on it. Izuku was always good at observing and adapting to what he sees. That helped him a lot to grasp basics. Of course, Izuku would give the man few bucks, since he helped him so much already. Second step, however, was much more difficult. That, of course, was actually playing piano on his own. Main problem was that Izuku didn't have any piano, since those aren't as easy to find in trash like guitar, and he didn't want to borrow money from his family. In the end, Izuku started going to local music store where customers could play instruments for free. Izuku felt really bad about doing it for free, so he wasn't going there regularly and sometimes wore a disguise. It wasn't the most comfortable approach, but he didn't really have any other real options either. Despite that, he was getting better, that much was certain. Of course, he didn't forget about guitar either and kept getting high scores in school too. There was only one problem, however. Ochako still kept ghosting him. Well, there were few times when they met, but again Ochako told him to buzz off. Izuku was getting really depressed over this. On top of that, Katsuki begun bullying him even more, to the point where Izuku would come home with black eye and even first-degree burns. Izuku, however, still being himself, always managed to hide it all from his family. But Izuku felt lonelier than ever before. His mom works all the time. Tenko has to deal with Yue. Ochako ghosts him. There is simply noon he could turn to anymore. And he was fully aware of that painful reality. See ya later, lil bro. Yes, see ya? With those words, Izuku separate from his brother Tenko, walking to his school, or rather hell. Right now, Izuku has survived 6 months in his last year of middle school. It's been rough, especially without anyone to rely on anymore. Izuku finally arrived to the school, once again feeling others stare at him with pity and disgust. Although Izuku liked to think he was used to this, he really wasn't at all. His day went as normal, getting trough lessons, being pushed around few times, nothing too out of the ordinary for him. Izuku decided to take short stroll trough the school since there were few people in the hallways during last hours of school. That, however, proven to be a bad idea shortly. As Izuku was going trough the hallways, he heard 2 familiar voices. He decided to go and see what was going on. Just as he thought, he saw 2 people, Ochako Uraraka and Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku quickly hid behind the corner without being noticed. So, the useless nerd is still trying to reach you. Man, how desperate that loser can be, huh? Katsuki said, clearly amused. I know, right? I got that dumbass wrapped around my finger. It's funny, all it took was to say I like him and he completely fell head over heels for me. How pathetic. Ochako said, giggling. Izuku was completely stunned. He couldn't believe what he just heard. How long do you want me to play with him, babe? Ochako asked. I honestly don't care. It's honestly getting pretty boring to see you just ghosting him. Katsuki said. Tears started running down Izuku's cheeks. What he just heard was too much for him. Ochako, what? Why would you do this to me? What have I ever done to deserve this? Izuku thought. I loved you and you threw that away like nothing. How long? Was she playing me from the beginning? As Izuku's thoughts were running wild, but soon the bell finally rang. He snapped out of his thoughts and wiped away his tears. It seems like I was wrong about you, Uraraka, he thought, walking to his class. The longer he thought, the stronger the feelings of betrayal, sadness, and anger grew inside of him. Then finally, school was finally over. Izuku was relieved and started packing as fast as he could to get away. He could tell that he is near his breakpoint and wanted to avoid reaching it at all costs. Of course, that was too much to ask of him. Right when the teacher left the classroom, Bakugo went to Izuku's desk. Oi nerd, time for your daily beating. Katsuki said with cocky grin. Izuku's eyes widened when he heard Katsuki's voice. His body froze and his hands started shaking as he looked at Katsuki with blank stare. What? Not going to say anything. Well, that's fine by me, Deku. Izuku shut himself up, completely paralyzed by fear for his sanity. He knew there was no escaping now. The only way how to preserve that last bit of sanity was to give in. Nothing will change if he tries to fight back, so he might as well stop trying and hope that Katsuki will get bored early. Katsuki grabbed Izuku by his collar and threw him to the wall behind him, scattering his stuff. Afterwards came Izuku's beating. As Izuku hoped, Katsuki got bored early and grabbed his backpack. He started walking towards the door when he noticed a particular notebook on the floor. Hero analysis number 7. 𝗵𝗃 grabbed it from the floor and looked at Izuku. What kind of joke is this? You still think that worthless nobody like you has a chance at becoming a hero, huh? Izuku looked at 𝗵𝗃 dripping from his mouth and his eyes devoid of any interest. 𝗵𝗃 clicked his tongue and then exploded Izuku's notebook. How many times do I need to repeat myself for you to finally understand? Quirkless loser like you can't be a hero. 𝗵𝗃 shouted and threw the burned notebook in Izuku's face. 𝗵𝗃 then finally went to the door, but stopped before completely leaving. You know, if you are really that desperate, there might be a way to get a quirk. The moment Izuku heard that, his eyes slightly glimmered as he looked at his tormentor. Just pray that you get a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive from the rooftop. 𝗵𝗃 said, leaving the classroom laughing. Izuku just stared at the burned notebook in front of him, until it happened. One tear rolled down Izuku's cheek. He slowly curled up into a ball in the corner of the classroom and started silently weeping. He just couldn't understand. Why was the world so cruel to him? Why does everybody hate him? It wasn't his fault that he was born quirkless, so why are they doing this to him? Eventually, tears just stopped flowing. Only hollow feeling of despair was left inside the poor. Izuku then packed up his things again and left the school. His only hope would be that this day won't get any worse. He kept going through the city streets towards his home. Unfortunately, his normal way got cut off because of construction site. Thankfully, Izuku knew another way that went through a small tunnel. Once again, life would decide to give young Izuku another fatal blow. As Izuku walked through the tunnel, a mass of sludge formed behind him and spoke. Ah, perfect. Hey kid, you won't mind becoming my new meat shield, right? Sludge said as it enveloped itself around Izuku, slowly suffocating him. Thanks kid, you're my hero. Izuku was slowly losing consciousness, as his last thoughts crossed his mind before blacking out. No, I don't want to die, please, someone help me. 𝗵𝗃. One gentle gust of wind blown over Izuku's face as he slowly opened up his eyes. Ugh, what happened to me? Izuku weakly said, rubbing the back of his head. Thank goodness you're awake, I was afraid I lost you there, young man. Izuku's eyes opened up wide as he looked at his side, where the voice come from. His shock got even bigger when he saw who it was. All Might. Izuku yelled in surprise. Haha, indeed. I am glad I managed to get here in time, young man. Thanks to your help, I was able to find this villain. Since you are all right, I will be going now. All Might said, turning around. Izuku quickly got up. Please wait, All Might, I want to ask you something. Izuku said. All Might turned to him. Yes, what is it? Izuku looked at him, his eyes having slight glimmer of hope. You see, I wanted to ask. Can somebody be a hero, even without a quirk? Izuku asked, struggling to speak. All Might looked at the boy, his expression showing clear shock, but he quickly regained his composure and looked at the boy with a saddened gaze. I am sorry, young man, but no. All life left Izuku's eyes as his last bit of hope shattered. It isn't bad to dream, but you need to be realistic. You can still help in other ways, like a policeman, for example. It might be a thankless job, but it's an important one. All Might said, trying to say something positive to the boy, however Izuku's mind was already lost. All Might turned around and jumped away, leaving frozen Izuku, still in the tunnel. I can't be a hero, Izuku said to himself. His dreams were shattered by a man he admired the most. Not even he, the man who always said that anybody can be a hero, said those words to him. Izuku was devastated. He wanted to cry, yet no tears could come out. He slowly grabbed his backpack and went home. He finally reached his home and went inside. Just as expected, nobody was there, but he didn't care right now. He went into his room and threw his backpack into a corner. He then closed the door and looked around his room. Izuku said as he looked at all Might merch around his room. Izuku snapped and started tearing down everything hero-related in his room. Posters, action figures and other things. He was finally letting out his frustration out until he was done. Once it was over, Izuku sat down on the floor of his now completely trashed room. Why? He said as he looked at torn poster of All Might. Didn't you say anybody can be a hero? Were you just deceiving everyone this entire time? Izuku whispered, his voice cracking a bit. I can't do this anymore. Izuku extended his right hand to his nightstand to open up drawer. He then put his hand there without looking and took out a cardboard cutter. Click, I will end it. I will finally be free from this hell. Izuku thought as he put the cutter to his throat. He looked to his right side and closed the drawer. Small tear escaped from his eye, and just as he was about to end it all, something in the corner of his vision caught his attention. It was an old family photo with him, Tenko, and his mom. When he saw it, old memories started flashing before his eyes. I believe in you, son. Don't you ever dare to give up on me, lil bro. I'm sorry, it just hurts so much, Izuku said as more tears started coming out. I will always be here for you, son. Brothers always stick together. I just don't know anymore. We are family. If you need anything, just tell me. Is it really all right for a failure like me to live? 3. I love you, son. We are in this together, Izuku. Izuku looked at his shaking hands, slowly letting go of the cutter, and took a deep breath. All right, try to think about this rationally, Izuku, he said, his voice slightly trembling. The room was silent for a moment. My life is completely screwed. My girlfriend cheated me. My childhood friend became my tormentor. Nobody at school gives a F about me, and my idol crushed my dream. That is the reality. Izuku looked into the corner of the room, where his guitar was laying. But maybe, just maybe this could make accepting that reality a bit easier. He said as he grabbed his guitar and sat on his bed. Alright, here goes. Izuku stopped playing and sighed. I didn't think it would actually work, but I really do feel a bit better now. Or at least I calmed down. He said as he looked at the cardboard cutter on the floor. 2. My life is worthless. That goes without saying, but I still have time to change things. Izuku slightly smiled. I mustn't forget that there are people who still believe in me. For their sake, I will survive another day. Izuku slowly grabbed the cutter and put it back into the drawer. He looked around his room once again and realized what mess he made. Izuku then spent another hour cleaning his room. There were still plenty of things that were still in good shape, but he really didn't want to have any of that hero merch in his room anymore. So being the smart kid he is, he carefully gathered things that survived his wrath to sell later and then put things that didn't survive into the trash. These past few hours were something Izuku will take with himself to his grave. His own little secret. It has been a week since Izuku's world crumbled, but he was slowly managing to get better. First thing that happened was that Izuku finally sold all the hero merch he wanted to get rid of. Being smart kid and fanboy he is, he managed to make really good money out of this since he knew exactly what those things were worth for other collectors. As for what he did with the money, his first thought was to give them to his family, but his mom insisted that he should keep them. Izuku, however, being stubborn as always, convinced her to take at least some of it. Tenko, however, didn't take anything, saying that Izuku should use that money on something meaningful. Since that was the case, Izuku spent these past few days looking for what exactly he could use that money for. Another thing was that somebody apparently snitched on Bakugo and got him suspended for 2 weeks, which gave Izuku some quality time to put himself really together. However, now it's Monday and Izuku still can't decide what he should buy. Keep the money to yourself, he said. I'm sure there is something you need to, he said. Well, I have no damn idea what I want. Izuku thought as he stepped off the school gate. Another day in hell. Let's see what awaits me here today. Izuku walked off the hallways, but before he went to the class, he was stopped by one of his classmates. Midoriya, can we talk in private, he said, but strangely Izuku didn't feel threatened. Izuku simply nodded and followed his classmate. Look, Midoriya, I just want to tell you that some time ago I saw your girlfriend going out with Bakugo, he said, looking away. I already know, Izuku said, looking at his classmate. Why, you do? Yeah, I caught them last week. Thanks for your concern though. If that's all you wanted, then I'll be going. Izuku said as he turned around to go towards his class again, but before going inside looked back. Come on, class will start soon. 7 First period finally ended and Izuku was as always alone. As he was about to reach for headphones in his backpack, he heard familiar voice. Fu, are you here? It was 𝗳𝗧𝗃 and she sounded angry. As she walked into the classroom, Izuku just looked at her with blank stare. "What do you want, Uraraka?" Izuku asked blankly. 𝗳𝗧𝗃 seemed taken back by the fact Izuku called her by her family name, but quickly put herself together. "I want to know what the hell is up with that rumor about me cheating on you, Deku. Do you have any goddamn idea what you did?" 𝗳𝗧𝗃 said angrily. Izuku stared at her for a moment before he spoke up. "What are you talking about? First of all, I didn't start a DMN thing. Second, even if I did, it's not like I would be lying anyways. So what's up with you?" Izuku said with harsh tone. Even if he isn't completely fine, he knows one thing for sure. She doesn't deserve any kindness from him anymore. 𝗳𝗧𝗃 was genuinely shocked at the change in Izuku's behavior, but her shock quickly turned into anger once again. "How dare you? I would never do some dash. I got that dumbness wrapped around my finger. Does that sound familiar?" Izuku interrupted her. "Don't think I am stupid. I might be quirkless, but I am still one of the top students here. You might have fooled me before, but not anymore," he said as he got up from his chair to face her. "Maybe if you bothered to read my messages or made even just a tiny bit of effort to talk to me, you would know that I broke up with you a week ago. Maybe check my number before you start assuming things." 𝗳𝗧𝗃's eyes widened as she yelled along with rest of class. "What? You heard me. Now if you came here just to yell at me, then you can just go. I don't need people like you in my life," Izuku said as he sat down again. Just as 𝗳𝗧𝗃 was about to speak again, school bell rang to cut her off. "This isn't over, Deku," she said and walked out of classroom. From that point rest of Izuku's day went pretty normally aside from his classmates staring at him from time to time, but he ignored that. School finally ended and Izuku left, not saying 𝗳𝗧𝗃 in his way. As always he looked around on his way on poster ads. However this time, one of them caught his eye. "Selling piano in very good shape, cost is negotiable, please call this number if you are interested. 𝗵𝗃𝗃." Izuku thought as he smirked and wrote down the contact number into his notebook. "Perhaps I have found what I can use that money for now." Izuku walked back to his empty home and rushed to his room. "Okay, let's give it a shot," Izuku thought as he started dialing the number from his notebook. "Beep beep beep, hello." Male voice spoke off Izuku's phone. "Hello, I am calling about the piano you are selling. Is the offer still open?" Izuku asked. Are you interested?" "Yes, I am. Are you fine with talking off the phone or do you want to negotiate face to face?" "I would rather meet up in person. Besides, I am sure you want to see the product before negotiating a price, don't you?" "Yes, I would like that. Can you send me the address then so we can talk?" "Of course, I am sending it to you right now. I'll be expecting you tomorrow at, let's say 4 p.m. Is that acceptable?" "It is, thank you, sir," Izuku said as he thought. Tomorrow sure will be interesting. Tenko's last class of the day just ended. "Hey Tenko, how do you think you did on the test?" This was Tenko's only friend in his class. Batory hero, future hero gunhead, he had pretty average looks, along with long pale mint green hair and brown eyes. They were friends since middle school because they were both discriminated for having villainous quirks. "I think I did pretty well, at least on the front side of the test." "Wait, there were questions on the back too," Batory yelled. One Tenko just face-bombed. "Did you seriously not notice it?" "I know that front side was hard enough. It didn't even occur to me there could be more." "Well, I guess yo dash beep beep beep." Tenko got cut off by his phone ringing. "Who is it?" Batory asked. Tenko checked the number to confirm. "It's Izuku. Give me a moment." Tenko went to the corner and picked up the call. "Hey big bro," Izuku said. "Hey there Izuku, what do you call me for?" Tenko asked. "Well, I sort of need your help. What do you need to help with exactly?" "You see, I might have kinda sorta bought a piano without a DLVRY service in the deal." Tenko already knew where this was going, but he was still trying his hardest not to scream. "I have so many questions about that sentence, but can you tell me where are you right now?" "Well, do you know that nightclub near Dagoba Beach?" Izuku asked. "Don't tell me it's right across the street from me." Tenko had to take a deep breath before talking further. "Bro, do you even realize that we don't even have space for piano at home? And that's where you're wrong, brother. Don't assume I didn't think this trough, because I did and I have everything prepared. I just need help to get this thing home. Alright, fine, I will be there in a moment, just wait there. Sure, bye big bro, Izuku said and ended the call. Yeah, bye. 𝗃𝗀 said inside. So, what did Izuku want? Batoru asked curiously. Apparently, he bought a piano and can't get it home on his own. Okay, but I don't see 𝗬𝗏, Batoru blinked few times before he spoke again. Are you serious? Yes, well that sucks. I would love to help but I don't have time today. Sorry. Batoru said. It's fine dude, the bigger question is how to deal with this. Hey, maybe you could ask Maya if she has something that could help. That's actually a good idea, thanks man. No problem dude, see ya. Batoru said and parted ways with 𝗃𝗀. It has been almost 2 hours since Izuku called 𝗃𝗀 for help and was still waiting for him with the piano. Izuku made few bucks in the meantime by playing on the street, although unintentionally. He just wanted to kill some time before his brother would come, but his music attracted a lot of people. He felt slightly bad for keeping the money, but he figured that it's better to just go along with it. Izuku decided to take a break from playing for a bit, given that crowd around him finally disappeared. Man, where is that 𝗃𝗀? This place isn't that far from UA, is it? Izuku said to himself. His break was however interrupted by a male voice. That is some skill with piano that you have, young man. Izuku looked in front of himself to see a tall man with black hair and blue eyes. Thank you sir. Izuku said, rubbing the back of his head. Playing a piano is an art that is being forgotten nowadays. It's nice to see somebody play it, especially this well. Well, thank you sir, Izuku said. The man raised his eyebrow. Is something wrong, young man? He asked. It's just that I am not really used to compliments from strangers. Of course, where are my manners? My name is 𝗵𝗃𝗲 Nakano. And you are? I'm Izuku Midoriya. Well Midoriya, what is a talent like you doing playing on a street? 𝗵𝗃𝗲 asked. Well, I bought this piano, but I got kinda scammed on the 𝗣𝗏𝗍𝗧𝗟, so I am waiting for my brother to help me take it home. Izuku said, slightly embarrassed. That's some bad luck. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said. You can say that again. Izuku said and chuckled. Say Midoriya, with a talent like yours, have you ever thought about becoming a musician? Me? A musician? Well, I guess it does sound interesting, but I don't think that's for me. I like playing because it helps me. I feel like if I made a job out of it, it wouldn't end well for me. Izuku said. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 put a hand in his pocket. I understand that sentiment well. If you ever change your mind, it will be best to keep this around. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 put on the piano a business card. It was a pleasure meeting you, Midoriya. Likewise, Mr. Nakano. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 then left Izuku's sight. Why do I feel like this isn't the last time he and I will meet? Izuku thought and put 𝗵𝗃𝗲's business card into his pocket, paying no attention to what was written on it. Hey Izuku. Finally, where were you, 𝗃𝗀𝗀? Izuku asked. For your information, I was getting something to help us with this goddamn piano you just randomly bought. No need to thank me. 𝗃𝗀𝗀 said sarcastically. And what is it you got us then? 𝗃𝗀𝗀 opened his backpack and took out 3 discs. I went to Maya to see if she had something to transport heavy objects. Unfortunately, she didn't have anything like that, but she made me these. That's why I got slowed down a bit. 3. Okay, but what are those things for? Gravity discs. We just have to put them on the bottom of this and it should make it about 1/10 of its normal weight. I see, then what are we waiting for? Let's do this big bro, Izuku said with excitement as he started daydreaming about finally having a piano at home. It has been few days since Midoriya brothers brought home the piano Izuku bought and Izuku himself was making a great use of it. Izuku never told neither 𝗃𝗀𝗀 or 𝗃𝗀𝗀 about his interesting encounter with Mr. Nakano when he was on the street. He didn't really think he really needed to, since he didn't really think too much about accepting the offer yet. Nothing really interesting was going on in Izuku's life aside from this, but today was about to change that. It's now Monday morning and Izuku is on his way to school. I don't know why, but I feel like something bad is going to happen today, Izuku thought. I feel like there is something important that I am forgetting, maybe that's why. Oh well, worst case scenario is that I will get jumped by villain again and really die this time. Best case scenario is that I became overly paranoid and I am just overthinking. Just as Izuku walked through the school gate, he instantly noticed a boy with blonde spiky hair and bloody red eyes. Okay, I have to correct myself. This is the worst case scenario. I completely forgot that this 𝗵𝗃𝗲 is returning today. Izuku thought as he looked away. Just keep it together, Izuku, you had not time for yourself. The first thing he will do is explode my face the moment he sees me, but I am prepared for that. He already spent 10 years doing that, it's not like it even hurts anymore. He thought as he put his hand on his cheek. His hand slightly twitched at the contact, but he ignored it as he walked through the school halls. Strangely enough, it seemed like people stared at him all the time. Perhaps they pitied the poor kid since 𝗧𝗍𝗄 was back now and everyone could already imagine what is going to happen the moment they meet. Izuku paid no attention to them and went to his classroom, where 𝗵𝗃𝗲 still wasn't present. Well, I suppose he will come later. Most likely he went to visit that floating beach. He thought as he looked at the empty seat in front of his own. Just as he sat down, Izuku already heard familiar voice echo through the hallways. Never mind, here comes the 𝗵𝗃𝗲 of the day. What a hassle. Everyone currently present in classrooms slowly looked at Izuku with worried expressions, while Izuku didn't look bothered at all. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 stepped into the class and his eyes wandered around for a second before they fixated on Izuku. Cocky smirk appeared on 𝗧𝗍𝗄's face as he walked over to Izuku, who ignored 𝗧𝗍𝗄's presence completely. Oi Deku, long time no beating. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 said. You better have a good explanation for the reason I got suspended, you quirkless garbage. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 said with threatening tone. Izuku looked 𝗧𝗍𝗄 in the eyes with disinterested gaze. Leave me alone, 𝗵𝗃𝗲. I'm not in mood for your SHT today. For the first time in his life, 𝗧𝗍𝗄 flinched. Izuku actually talked back. He didn't call him by his stupid nickname. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 was really shocked by this change, but he regained his composure. What do we have here is the useless nerd talking back. He said, gritting his teeth as he slammed his hand on Izuku's desk, leaving small burn mark. Izuku just stared at 𝗧𝗍𝗄 with bland face. What's up with that face, huh? You think you are better than me, just dash. Will you just shut up already? Izuku interrupted 𝗧𝗍𝗄. I don't care about being better than you, 𝗵𝗃𝗲. I don't care what you think or what you say about me. Just do your DMN thing and I will do mine. Sounds good. Fine, now get lost. Izuku said, not giving 𝗧𝗍𝗄 any chance to disrupt him, and started scratching the burn mark on his desk. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 grabbed Izuku by his collar. Listen here, Deku. Don't think that just because you grew a pair means you are any less worthless. Quirkless reject like you still has zero chance at being a hero. Got that? He yelled into Izuku's face. Izuku was slightly shaking. These past 2 weeks were enough for him to forget the terrible feelings 𝗧𝗍𝗄 always stirred inside of him. Pain, sadness, anguish, and hopelessness. This time, however, there was something stronger than all of those emotions combined. It was Izuku's hatred, and right now, that hatred kept Izuku from giving in to 𝗧𝗍𝗄. Izuku's hand stopped shaking and his breath became normal again. He let out a light chuckle and grabbed 𝗧𝗍𝗄's hand to loosen his grip. Now you listen, because you probably missed this one, but I don't care about being a hero anymore. Izuku yelled into 𝗧𝗍𝗄's face. Entire classroom was silent, staring in shock at Izuku. This was the first time they saw him yell at someone, and for that person getting yelled at being 𝗧𝗍𝗄 made the shock even worse. These facts still paled compared to the fact that Izuku, the biggest hero nerd in the entire school, just said he couldn't care less about being a hero, shook everybody including 𝗵𝗃𝗲 to their core. 𝗧𝗍𝗄 let go of Izuku's collar. He knew very well that he finally pushed Izuku past his breaking point and decided that he shouldn't try pushing further anymore. The bell rang, signaling the start of class as the teacher stepped into the classroom. He was rather surprised to see all his students standing like stone statues, just staring straight at Izuku, barely moving. Is there something wrong? 6 After Izuku confessed that he doesn't have any intention to become a hero anymore, his life became strangely much more peaceful. Even 𝗵𝗃𝗲 stopped picking on him, since only thing he ever wanted was for Izuku to give up. Of course, bullying Izuku became a norm over the years, so there were still some people who picked on him from time to time. Neither 𝗵𝗃 or 𝗃𝗃 know of his decision about not being a hero anymore yet, and Izuku isn't certain if he will even tell them about it. However, all of that is insignificant right now, because today is Izuku's birthday. Since it's Thursday afternoon, Izuku is still in. So far, nobody tried to pick on him today. Thankfully, the bell just rang to end his final class. Izuku was packing his things, occasionally looking over his shoulder to make sure nobody was approaching him. He took his bag and started walking through the school corridors. Things have been pretty quiet lately. Not even 𝗧𝗓𝗃𝗧 and her bitchy friends are annoying me anymore. I wonder, what can I do if being a hero isn't an option anymore? Izuku was thinking to himself. If not hero, what will he become in the future? It was just now that he realized how problematic his situation just became. It's fine, I still have about 6 months before I get out of middle school. There is still time, no need to freak out. And so, Izuku's mind was burdened with new issues, completely forgetting his own birthday. Just as Izuku got out of school building, his phone started ringing. He quickly took his phone out to see who was calling him. 𝗃𝗃, what does he need at this hour? Izuku thought and picked up the call. Hello little brother, where are you? 𝗃𝗃 said with excitement in his voice. Hey, I just got out of school. Why do you ask? Do you know that shop 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏? The one near Hikashi Park. Mom just called me that they have massive discounts on chicken meat and eggs. Unfortunately, it seems that I will be held back by school today, so could you take this one for me please? Izuku sighed. Alright, I suppose I don't have anything to do anyways. You are lucky that I took some extra money with me today. Thank you, you're the best Izuku. I knew you wouldn't let me down. You will thank me once I will have my money back. Of course, I wouldn't dream of robbing my precious little brother. 𝗃𝗃 said in sarcastically joking manner. I will be on my way then. Bye. Bye. 𝗃𝗃 said as Izuku hung up. Good thing he at least called me about it now. If I recall, Hikashi Park is in opposite direction to my home. Izuku said to himself and sighed. Being a third year in UA is pretty dim and time consuming. I should probably go. I don't want that chicken to get sold out before I get my hands on it. Izuku thought and started walking towards the direction of Hikashi Park. One after a very tiring trip to 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏, Izuku was finally near his home. He spent almost 3 hours on this trip. Because simply walking to 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 took him 30 minutes, but Izuku spent a good hour just waiting for the bus. The problem, however, was that those massive discounts that 𝗃𝗃 talked about actually weren't massive at all, but Izuku felt bad about not bringing home anything at all, so he bought the eggs and chicken anyways. To his disappointment, however, it turned out the money that remained for him weren't enough even for a bus ride, so he had to walk home anyways. Just a moment and I will be finally home. I can finally rest. Izuku thought as he finally reached his home. Mom's car is not here as always. Izuku thought as he opened the doors. I'm home. Izuku yelled but without any response. So another lonely night, huh? He thought as he took his shoes off, but as he was about to walk into his room, he noticed faint light from a kitchen. Did 𝗃𝗃 leave a stove on or something? He thought as he walked to the kitchen. As he turned the lights on, he heard loud bang next to his ear and his head was suddenly covered with colorful paper. Happy birthday, Izuku. Two voices that Izuku knew very well shouted. Of course it was his mother and 𝗃𝗃, who were hidden behind a corner. Izuku, however, was still processing everything. Wait a minute, it's my birthday? Wait, today is February 3rd. Oh my god, it really is my birthday. Izuku finally realized. 𝗃𝗃 already realized from his reaction that Izuku indeed forgot about his birthday. You genuinely had no idea it was your birthday, did you? 𝗃𝗃 asked, looking at embarrassed Izuku. Well, yes, completely. Izuku said, scratching back of his head with embarrassed smile. Come on then, we have cake prepared. It's chocolate, your favorite. 𝗃𝗃 said. Izuku looked at table where his birthday cake was. Izuku quickly hugged his mom. You're the best mom. 𝗃𝗃 hugged her son back, lightly patting him on his back. Izuku then broke the hug and remembered. Wait, I almost forgot. He said as he reached into his bag and took out the things he bought at 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏. 𝗃𝗃 looked at him in shock. Wait, they really had them on sale. I thought you will just come back when you realize you don't have the money for it. He admitted. Well, they had them on sale, but I did give pretty much all my money I had on me for it. I kinda felt bad about not buying it if Mom wanted them. I am so sorry, I will make it up to you someday. 𝗃𝗀 said nervously. It's okay, let's put this in a fridge first, before it spoils. Izuku said with a wide smile. And so, Izuku's birthday party started. They ate most of the cake, played a few board games together, talked about many things, but now it was time for it. 𝗃𝗀, can you please bring it here? It's about time for it. 𝗃𝗀 said. Sure, give me a minute. 𝗃𝗀 replied as he got up and left a living room. 1. 𝗃𝗀, can you please bring it here? It's about time for it. 3. Sure, give me a minute. As 𝗃𝗀 left a living room, Izuku got slightly nervous. He knew what this was about, it was obviously his birthday present. The thing is, as far as he can remember, he always got some kind of hero merch on his birthday. This was a problem, since he gave up on heroes and didn't want to see anything related to it. It was now that he realized that it might have been for the best if he told them about that decision. 𝗃𝗀 finally returned with a gift. It wasn't something all that big, just about the size of box for shoes, which made Izuku even more nervous. And here it is, come here little guy. 𝗃𝗀 said as he gave the box to his little brother. Izuku chuckled. Thank you. He said and started opening his present. Please no hero merch, please no hero merch, Izuku was repeating in his mind. Izuku finally opened his present to reveal what was inside. Microphone. Izuku said with a hint of shock in his voice as if faintly smiled. I noticed some time ago that you got rid of your hero stuff, so I figured that it might be time to change things up this year. 𝗃𝗀 said. I hope you like it. 𝗃𝗀 said. Without their notice, a small tear ran down Izuku's cheek. Thank you, this is great. Izuku said as more tears of joy ran down his face. 𝗃𝗀 gave his brother a hug. Geez, you're such a crybaby. He said as he stopped hugging his brother. Why don't you try it out? I already took a liberty of installing some recording software on your notebook beforehand. How did you get into my notebook in the first place? 𝗳𝗏𝗍𝗔, writing your password on the inside of battery is pretty clever, not gonna lie. Still, take this warning as another gift for today. 𝗃𝗀 said, petting his brother on the back. Noted well, I guess it can't hurt to try it out. Izuku said and went to his room to bring his notebook. There you are buddy, let's go. He said as he picked up his notebook. However, he also noticed the family photo that once saved his life. I'm sorry. It hurt so much. Is it alright for a failure like me to live? Izuku shook his head. Why am I thinking about it? I'd say it was worth it just for this one moment. He thought and walked back into a living room. I got it, let's set it up. Izuku said as he and 𝗃𝗀 started preparing everything while 𝗃𝗀 went to clean the kitchen. Sometime, everything was set up. Alright, let's record you playing piano. 𝗃𝗀 said. Hold up, I thought we will just do mic check, not start like this already. Ah come on, it will work anyways, so let's make the first recording memorable. 𝗃𝗀 said, trying to convince him. Fine, I will do it. Happy. Izuku said with slightly annoyed tone. Very much, 𝗃𝗀 replied happily. Izuku sighed. What should I play? Maybe something from Beethoven, I practiced that one a lot. Izuku thought as he sat down to a piano. Alright, let's do this. He said and started playing. For Izuku wiped sweat from his forehead in relief. Man, that was hard, but I think I nailed it. He thought. That was appealing, honey. 𝗃𝗀 said in tears. This was the very first time she heard Izuku play. I am so proud. She said as she hugged her son. Izuku was a bit surprised by his mother's reaction, but hugged her back regardless. Amazing as always, bro. I think you might actually go pro with this much skill. 𝗃𝗀 said. In that moment, a memory not from too long ago crossed Izuku's mind. Have you ever thought about becoming a musician? If you ever change your mind, it will be best to keep this around. For a moment, Izuku's smile turned into a smirk without anyone's notice. You know what? That's not such a bad idea. He thought. Okay, let's hear what we recorded, shall we? Izuku said as he looked at 𝗃𝗀𝗃. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. 𝗃𝗀𝗃 said as he started looking for the audio folder. And found it, let's see. 𝗃𝗀𝗃 then pressed the play button, but all that could be heard was static sound. Loud sound alert. 𝗃𝗀𝗃, I think we screwed up recording settings. Izuku said. 𝗃𝗀𝗃 chuckled. Okay, I really wasn't expecting this. I guess second time will be the charm. He said. Yeah, let's do some testing to get this thing working properly this time. It was at midnight. Inko and 𝗃𝗀𝗃 were already sleeping after Izuku's birthday party, however the green-haired boy was still awake in his room. Where did I put it? I know it has to be somewhere in these drawers. He said as he was searching his table drawers. Izuku sighed. Okay, this is the last one. If it's not here, I am screwed. He said as he started taking things out of the drawer. Duct tape, glue, why do I have split sunglasses here? He kept going his things until he finally found it. A victorious smirk spread across his face. Here you are. It will be best to keep this around. You were right, Mr. Nakano, this just might turn out to be the start of something really good. He said as he looked at the business card. Akuma Records, how interesting. Let's see who you are. He said as he sat down to his notebook and started searching the net. Established just 30 years ago, acting CEO is Taichi Kurihara. It looks like they have a pretty long list of popular idols under their name despite their short history. Izuku read some more as his gaze eventually averted towards the business card near his right hand. Do I have what it takes to pull off something like this? Izuku asked himself. Perhaps I should try to do a small test first. He thought as a new idea was born inside his mind. Why can't I think of anything? Izuku was repeating as he repeatedly banged his head on his table. It has been 2 days since Izuku's birthday. Ever since that night, he was working very hard on his plan. Since Izuku wasn't sure if he had what it takes to become a musician, he figured that the only way he will know if people would like him is to just try making a song of his own. Depending on the feedback he would get from people, he would make his final decision. However, inspiration to achieve this was something the boy very much lacked right now. What do? I just can't think of anything, Izuku said as he was looking at a blank piece of paper in front of him. How are all those other musicians doing this? He thought. Wait, that's it? He said as he opened his notebook. Let's see, inspiration of famous musicians. Okay, this just might work. Izuku said with a smile as he started his research. He spent hours watching interviews with various celebrities and noted everything that catched his attention. That's when he found a certain podcast recording. So Echo, many aspiring artists ask this question quite often and we would like to know your take on it. Sure, show me what you got. Alright, the question is, how do you get inspiration for your music? You know how most kids come home from school and they are welcomed by their family with open arms. I was welcomed with an iron fist in my face. My old man wasn't really a saint nor even a decent person. He would beat me and my 2 sisters on a daily basis and every morning come home, reeking of cheap liquor. I remember those days when I was 14 and my father broke my right hand. It hurt so badly, but he locked me in my room instead of taking me to a doctor. I couldn't even sleep that night, so I picked up a pen and piece of paper and started writing. It was originally supposed to be a hate letter to my father, but as I was writing, I noticed that some of those words actually rhymed. Out of spite, I continued writing and writing for, let's say, an hour. I looked at my dark masterpiece, but after realizing those rhymes, I just couldn't help myself but to rewrite it so everything would rhyme too. That thing was my first version of my song, Fatherless. To this day the most famous song in my fanbase. I am pretty sure if I found that thing, I wouldn't be able to read it anymore since I was writing with my other hand. But yeah, if you want to find inspiration, my advice is pain. Remember that time your mother slapped you for saying something she didn't like. Remember that time when your teacher called you helpless failure. Remember that time on the playground when your bully punched you for not having money to give him. Remember that pain, relive that pain and let it guide your hand. That is how I find my inspiration. Of course, there are Izuku stopped the audio. Man, that gave me shivers. He said as he rubbed his shoulder. Let the pain guide me. I guess I could try that. Izuku looked at his right arm and started deeply thinking. He looked at every scar that he had and recalled how he received of every one of them. Defenseless Izuku. You think you can be a hero? Take a swan dive from the rooftop. You won't mind becoming my new meat shield. I don't want to die. As memories were rushing through his mind, he grabbed his pen and pressed it against the sheet of paper. It has been 3 weeks since Izuku's birthday. As days went by, he started getting better and better at songwriting and already managed to get his instrumentals together as well. Every day he worked hard to finish his project, and today he finally achieved what in his opinion was satisfactory result. Man, this was seriously tough. It's hard to believe I spent 3 weeks on this, he said as he looked at pile of papers next to him. I changed the lyrics and chords so many times. I can hardly imagine what professionals have to go through before they are satisfied, he said as he chuckled. Well, I suppose it is about time I enter the final stage. Showcase my work to the world, Izuku said, looking at his notebook. I am so goddamn nervous. Is it already too late to back down? He thought as he looked at poster of Echo next to his bed, who became somewhat of a new idol to Izuku. Izuku sighed. Fine Izuku, calm down. You already got this far, no reason to stop, he thought as he looked at the screen. Okay, let's make a little tweak to the plan. I will upload this and then log out for 10 days. After that, I will look at their comments. If people are not gonna like this, I will at least hear it all at once, not over the course of several days. That kind of waiting is what already broke me once, and I don't need to go through it again. Izuku put his finger above the touchpad and took a deep breath. Here goes nothing, he whispered as he tapped the upload button. 10%, 25%, 50%, 70%, 95% uploading complete, and now I will wait. I really can't go back on this anymore, Izuku thought as he logged out of his account. It was a normal spring day at 𝗵𝘃𝗃 Junior High. Students were now on their way out, since their classes have ended for today. Well, most of them. Please, just leave me alone, a girl with brown hair and eyes flickering orange timidly said, curled up in the corner of the classroom. Oh come on, you're no fun Miku, girl with short black hair and blue eyes said, as a small crowd of people behind her nodded in agreement. Stop, please just stop, Miku weakly mumbled as she started trembling with fear. What was that? I didn't hear you clearly Beach, black-haired girl said and kicked Miku from the side, knocking her to the ground. As pressure around her built up, it slowly crushed her lower and lower, until she started crying. This only received laughter of the crowd. Is the little coward crying, she said as she started recording on her phone. Look at that pathetic loser guys. This twisted circus of pain continued for several minutes, before everyone got bored and left the classroom. Everyone except Miku. I hates sob this I haven't done sob anything to them, Miku said to herself. It's not fair. Not so long ago, Miku finally reached her penthouse. Her father was however absent, which was to Miku a rather rare occurrence. Still, this time she paid it no mind and went straight to her room. She put her backpack next to her bed and sat down. She sat there in silence, remembering her day. Without her realizing, tears started running down her cheeks once again. Miku was crying for a few minutes, when she suddenly heard notifications sound from her phone. She wiped her tears and looked at her phone. Top 5 hidden gems of this month. That was title of the article that popped up on Miku's phone. Oh, I almost thought that it was something important, she thought. I don't have anything to do anyways, I could check it out. Miku opened the article and started scrolling through it. 5 games, 5 movies, 5 songs. As someone who loved music, Miku became more interested. Still, this is shied paper. These guys always put the only good song on the 5th place. Let's see 𝗵𝗃𝗃 train wreck. That sounds interesting, she thought and opened the link. 2 loading laying in the silence waiting for the siren signs. Any signs I'm alive still I don't want to lose it but I'm not getting through this hey, should I pray, should I pray to myself, to a God to a savior who can, so far it sounds good. Unbreak the broken unsay these spoken words find hope in the hopeless pull me out the train wreck unburn the ashes unchain the reactions I'm not ready to die, not yet pull me out the train wreck pull me out, pull me out, pull me out, pull me out. He sounds so sad. I guess I'm not the only one who had a bad day. Underneath our bad BLD we still got a sad song, home, still at home, still at home. Yeah, it's not too late to build it back, 'cause a 1 in a million chance is still a chance, and I would take those odds. I guess he still managed to keep his head up. Miku remarked. Unbreak the broken, unsay these spoken words, find hope in the hopeless, pull me out the train wreck, unburn the ashes, unchain the reactions, I'm not ready to die, not yet, pull me out the train wreck, pull me out, 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 pull me out. I can hear how desperate he is to keep living, but why? She thought as she rubbed her bruised arm. You can say what you like, don't say I wouldn't die for it, I'm down on my knees and I need you to be my God, be my help, be a savior who can, I wish my savior came. She said as a single tear escaped her eye. Unbreak the broken, unsay these reckless words, find hope in the hopeless, pull me out the train wreck, unburn the ashes, unchain the reactions, I'm not ready to die, not yet, pull me out the train wreck, pull me out, 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 pull me out. 𝗵𝗃𝗲, I can't remember the last time I cried when I listened to music. Miku mumbled and wiped her tears. I wonder, is everything you made this heart-catching? Miku thought and opened the channel, but what she found surprised her. This is all. Just one song. Miku was rather disappointed in this. That's too bad. I am looking forward to the next one. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁's attention shifted as she heard the buzzing sound. I guess Dad forgot his keys today again. She thought as she went to the door. She proceeded to open them to reveal a tall man with blue eyes and black hair. Welcome home, Dad. Miku said. Thank you for opening the doors for me, sweetie. I kinda forgot your keys. You are very lucky that I am always home, Dad. Miku's father chuckled. And I am glad that's the case at days like these. Since I bought some food for us, I will 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Miku's father took out his phone. Unknown number. He was surprised but picked up regardless. Hello. Miku couldn't hear who was on the phone. Plus 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 plus. Her father just smiled, as if he realized something. So it is you. You sure took your time to decide. Plus 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 plus. Of course, I will send you later information about it. When are you available? Plus 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 plus. Let's go with that then. See you later. He said and hang up. Who was it, Dad? My new client. He said with satisfied smile. Izuku has just returned home. He arrived a bit later than he wanted, mainly because he had to go shopping since his mother would work overtime today and Tenko was unreliable in these matters. That aside, Izuku was home, enjoying his peace while playing the guitar. That should be enough for today. Izuku put away his guitar just as his phone started playing. He quickly grabbed his phone to turn the music off, only to realize it was his own notification. So the time has come. 10 days of waiting are officially over. He said as he sat down to his notebook. I am so nervous. He was almost logged in, but he stopped. I need something for courage. Izuku left his room and went to the kitchen. It should be around here. Izuku was searching Trough Kitchen until he found Tenko's secret beer stash. He is gonna kill me for this, but I need something to calm my nerves. He thought as he took a small can of beer from the stash. Might as well take some snacks too. He mumbled and grabbed a pack of popcorn. He returned to his room and opened his bag of popcorn. Izuku raised his beer for a toast. It's all or nothing now. He said as he cracked open the can and chugged all the beer down in one go. It's kinda bitter. Izuku said with twisted face. Okay, here I go. He said as he pressed login button. Izuku was nervous, but the tension disappeared when he realized that he was sent to the profile site. Well, this is kinda anticlimactic. He chuckled, but he suddenly noticed a particular number on the screen. Wait, I got 7,000 followers. He yelled in surprise, quickly covering his mouth. 3. Okay, Izuku, stay calm, let's see how my song is doing. He tried to calm himself down, only to be even more shocked when he got into his video section. This is crazy, how did this happen? Izuku exclaimed in shock as he looked at his song's statistics. 𝗵𝗃 train wreck audio 11. 024 likes, 745 dislikes, 86. 463 views 11. It was only 10 days, how? Is this really my song? Izuku pressed the play button, still shocked by what he was seeing, but what he heard was indeed his song. Well, I should look at the comments too. I can't rely on feedback based on numbers alone. He thought as he opened the comments and started reading while eating popcorn. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 one-on-one line from this guy is better than most albums from those popular artists today. 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍 this song speaks to me on spiritual level. Thank you for making this. Cannot wait for your next song Arthur 201 Goosebumps. The emotion in this guy's voice and the lyrics. I absolutely love this song 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍. The pain in this guy's voice is real, man, and it's appealing to our 3Wson. I'm not ready to die. This single line saved my life. I was suicidal for quite a while and planned to end it all today, but then I heard this and it just snapped me back. Thank you for giving me strength to go on. Izuku kept reading the comments one after another, and although they were positive, Izuku couldn't feel joy in this situation. In fact, it was painful for him to see so many people sharing their depressing stories. Man, so many hurt people, and all it took to make their day better was just a few words. Izuku mumbled as he was looking at the screen. But I helped them. He smiled. It was me who helped all these broken people. 𝗵𝘃𝗃 looking at these comments, I can safely confirm, my good sir, you are a hero. Normally, Izuku would scoff at the mere mention of a word hero, yet now, this word brought tears in his eyes. You think you can become a hero, do you? As his last tear dropped, a small smile spread on Izuku's face as he grabbed his phone. I finally decided, he said confidently as he searched through his contacts. Mr. Nakano calling. Hello. Hello, Mr. Nakano. It's Midoriya, we met few months ago. Izuku said, still recognizing the voice. So it is you. You sure took your time to decide. I just wanted to ask if the offer is still open. Izuku asked. Of course, I will send you later information about it. When are you available? I would like to meet tomorrow if possible. Let's go with that then. See you later. Those were the last words before Mr. Nakano hung up. Izuku sighed, relieved that the call went smoothly. He opened the drawer next to him to reveal his old burned notebook. 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗔 number 7, it looks like you were wrong about me after all, isn't that right, Bakugo? He said with a smirk on his face and closed the drawer again. I can be my own DMN hero. Izuku was walking through the streets of Mizudafu. Alright, Mr. Nakano texted me that we should meet up at 4 in Mikado Cafe. Now only if it was a bit closer to my home, Izuku thought as he let out frustrated sigh. Mika, me Mikado there. He screamed internally as he finally spotted his target. Izuku took out his phone to check time. And I am still 10 minutes early, good. He went to the cafe, but unsurprisingly couldn't spot Mr. Nakano. He isn't here yet? Oh well, I guess I will just order a coffee and wait. And so, Izuku bought some cheap coffee and sat down to the nearest empty table. Few minutes passed and Izuku was getting slightly nervous, but then he heard the entrance bells. Sure enough, when he looked at the door, he saw a black-haired man with blue eyes he met all that time ago. Mr. Nakano also noticed him and went to Izuku's table. It's been a long time, Midoriya, he said. It sure has been, Mr. Nakano. So, what do you think about the place? 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍 asked. Not sure why you ask, but the atmosphere is pretty nice and coffee isn't half bad for the price. I might come around again someday. 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍 chuckled. I agree, I just wanted to know your opinion on the place where your life will take a very drastic turn. Are you prepared for it? I wouldn't call you if I wasn't. Izuku replied. I see, let's talk business now then, shall we? Alright, I believe that should be everything. Do you want to discuss something else? No, the deal sounds good to me. After some time of discussing, Izuku and 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍 finally came to agreeable terms concerning Izuku's contract. Very well, I will give the details to my secretary, and once that's done, I will call you again to sign the contract papers to make it official. Sounds good. 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗍 said. It sure does. Izuku said as he finished his coffee. Mr. Nakano turned to near waitress. Excuse me, can we get our bill please? Right away, sir. Waitress said as she nodded to her coworker. Izuku took out his wallet. It's fine, I'll pay for us both. 𝗵𝗃 said looking at Izuku. Even though Izuku wanted to protest, he knew that it would be best to just accept Mr. Nakano's generosity. So, Mr. Nakano paid the bill and left the cafe with Izuku. Well, it was pleasure to meet you again in person, Mr. Nakano. Likewise, Midoriya. 𝗵𝗃 said as car stopped next to him. Say, would you like a ride home? 𝗵𝗃 offered. Oh no, I don't want to waste your time dash. Nonsense, all that awaits me is just boring paperwork after this. You are not wasting anybody's time here. 𝗵𝗃 cut off Izuku. Then I will take you up on that offer. Thank you. 𝗵𝗃 and Izuku got into a car and Izuku gave the driver his address. There were few minutes of silence before Izuku decided to break it off. Mr. Nakano, I want to ask you something. Go on, what do you want to know? Why are you being so nice to me? I understand the basics like being nice to your clients, but I doubt anyone would go as far as to offer them ride home. Izuku said nervously. 𝗵𝗃 sighed. You really aren't used to people being kind to you, are you, kid? No. Izuku said, slightly surprised. Well, truth is I offered you the ride because I have a favor I would like to ask of you and I didn't want to discuss it in public. I see. Well, what do you want? Izuku asked. 𝗵𝗃 took out his phone and showed a picture on it to Izuku. 2. This is my daughter Miku. I have a suspicion that she is being bullied at school, but she won't tell me, so I can't really go after anyone without knowing who is behind it. 𝗵𝗃 explained. I see, so she isn't the type to open up to others, huh? Ever since my wife died 3 years ago, she became rather distant. I'm not really a role father. I don't know much about raising kids unlike my wife, but still, you want to make sure she is safe, correct? Izuku said. Yes. He admitted. Alright, but what can I do? Izuku asked. Listen, I know that you have barely 3 months before you end middle school, so I am aware that asking this might be strange, but could you please transfer to her school for those few months and help me solve this? Of course, I will pay off any financial necessities that come along with it. Izuku was shocked by the proposal, but he tried to think about it. Transferring schools. I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not like anyone will miss me at Aldera, but still, is it even worth it? It's like he said, the school will end in just few months, so she can probably handle it, he thought, but his thoughts were stopped by one memory. I will end it, yes. I will finally be free from this hell. Izuku looked down. Then again, I also had to keep it together for few months, yet I did break, he kept thinking as he clenched his fist. To hell with this. It's not like I will miss my school. If someone needs help, I have to help them. Alright, if that is all you want from me, I will help you. Izuku said as he looked 𝗵𝗃 straight in the eyes. Really? 𝗵𝗃 said, surprised. Yes, although I still need to discuss it with my family first. Thank you, Midoriya. I am grateful. 𝗵𝗃 said. I still have to convince my family, but if you were serious about the financial backup, then I don't think they will be against it. Izuku said as the car stopped in front of his home. Well, I am thankful for the ride, Mr. Nakano. I hope I can meet you next time with good news. He said as he opened the doors. I hope so too, Midoriya. 𝗵𝗃 said as he extended his hand to Izuku. Izuku noticed it and shook hands with Mr. Nakano. Take care, Midoriya. 𝗵𝗃 said. Izuku stepped out the car. You too, Mr. Nakano. He replied and closed the door. Mr. Nakano's driver then drove away. Sir, are you sure it was wise to entrust such a task to a newcomer? The driver asked. 𝗵𝗃 lightly chuckled. If the information Fudo gave me on him is correct, then I don't think there is anyone better suited for this job. He replied with confident smile. It was nighttime when a green-haired boy was sitting alone in the kitchen of his home. Click, he heard opening of the lock on the doors. He went to check and sure enough, he saw his mother standing there. Welcome home, Mom. He greeted her. Hey, sweetie. What are you doing up at this hour? Inko asked her son. Mom, there is something I need to discuss with you. Izuku was sitting with his mother in the kitchen, finally done with explanation of recent events in his life. And that's about it. I know it's a lot to drop on you right now, but I just had to tell you. Izuku said to his mother. I won't lie, I am shocked. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? 𝗵𝗃 asked. I wanted to make sure it was real first. I was skeptical of the offer, so I needed to make sure first. However, now that I met with Mr. Nakano again and our talk, I think I can trust him. That's why I waited until now. Well, I don't have anything against you transferring schools. We should manage even without the financial help. Izuku looked at her surprised. Really? What I have trouble with agreeing is this contract you want to sign. 𝗵𝗃 said. 𝗬𝗧𝗏. Isn't this a good thing? I have skills and I can now make good money with them. What's there to think about? I can't see what could go wrong. Izuku, I know you think you have control here, but that's not how this works. 𝗵𝗃 cut off her son. But, I don't think I am the right person who should talk about this with you, Izuku. 𝗵𝗃 said. Who then? Izuku said impatiently. Your grandfather 𝗧𝗏𝗃. He used to be an actor back in the day, but I think he should tell you the whole story himself. Grandpa was an actor. How come I didn't know that? 𝗵𝗃 looked at him. I am pretty surprised you don't remember. You used to watch his movies all the time when you were a baby. She said with gentle smile as she looked at her son. I really mean it, Izuku. If you really think this is for you, then you should first hear him out. Izuku was rather confused by this, but agreed anyways. Sure, I'll visit him tomorrow. Thank you, honey. It was weekend and Izuku finally got a chance to visit his grandfather's home. He knocked on the door. Izuku stood there waiting for few seconds before the doors finally opened, revealing an older man about Izuku's height. His hair gray and face wrinkled. Only resemblance between them were their emerald green eyes. This was Izuku's grandfather, 𝗧𝗏𝗵𝗃 Midoriya. Izuku, my boy. It's been so long, come in. 𝗧𝗏 said. It's nice to see you too, Grandpa. Izuku said and went in. Go and sit down in the living room, I'll bring us something to drink. 𝗧𝗏 said. Izuku knew his grandfather was a stubborn man, so he didn't bother with offering him help. Izuku waited for a bit before he started getting worried. Grandpa, is everything all right? Izuku yelled. Of course, my boy, I was just getting everything together. 𝗧𝗏 said, coming from kitchen with 2 glasses of dark liquid with ice cubes and lime. Here you go. He said as he gave 1 glass to his grandson. Thank you, Grandpa. But since when did you start drinking cola? Izuku asked. Ever since I started drinking Cuba Libre. 𝗧𝗏 said back as he sat in his armchair. Izuku looked at his glass. Are you sure it dash? Come now, my boy, it's not like this is our first time drinking together. 𝗧𝗏 quickly interrupted, winking at Izuku. Izuku chuckled at his grandfather's truthful remark. I suppose not. He said with a smile. So, what brings you here today? 𝗧𝗏 asked with curiosity. I was given a certain offer, and when I talked about it with my mom, she said that your input would be more valuable than her own. Izuku said. Now you've got my attention. She also told me you used to be an actor, is that true? Izuku asked. 𝗧𝗏 laughed. You really don't remember? Oh my good boy, you basically grew up on my movies before your hero phase began. I see. Back to my issue some time ago, I was approached by an agent from Akuma Records and he gave me an offer to perform under their brand. Izuku said. I feel like I know where this is going. Anyways, we met few days ago and discussed details regarding my contract. That's about it. I just have to wait for him to call me so I can sign the papers to make it official. 𝗧𝗏 was shocked by what Izuku just said. Izuku, he said. Are you serious about this? Yes. Izuku quickly answered. Listen, my boy, what I am about to tell you all comes from personal experience. So please trust my word in this. 𝗧𝗏 said. Okay, Izuku said confused. Show business is very tricky and uncompromising thing. You might think it will all work out in your favor, but you have no idea how bad you could end up. It doesn't matter which role you play, actor, director, singer. In any case, even the most minor slip-up can destroy your entire life. What do you mean? I mean that it will be difficult. If you aren't careful, you can become corporate SLV for life or end up on the street. You will have to choose very carefully who you trust, and you will need to keep looking over your shoulder so noon can stab you in the back. 𝗧𝗍𝗪 said as he put his glass down. No matter how successful you will be, there will always be someone who will try to take advantage of you. Accidentally transferring your house to someone else, signing autograph that's actually child support. There are many ways people can screw you over. But you were fine, right? Izuku asked, stuttering. If I was fine, do you think your mother would need to work until midnight? 𝗧𝗪 asked. Izuku was completely mute from shock. His grandfather's words terrified him to his core. 𝗧𝗪 sighed. Perhaps this is perfect time to tell you. You are old enough so you should know how I brought our family to ruin. It all happened years ago when your mother was still just a little child. At the time, I was at top of the movie industry. People on the street would ask for autographs, offers for movies were coming left and right. Me, your grandmother Chiho, Kotaro and Inko were having time of our lives. 3. So what changed? Izuku asked. One day, an old friend of mine from high school, Yoichi Tegan, contacted me. He told me that he had some trouble finding job and asked if I could arrange a job for him. Since he was desperate enough to ask others, I figured I should help him. So, since I knew he was really good in planning and numbers, I made him my assistant. He was grateful for the opportunity and of course, he was getting pretty good wage as most assistants did back then. As years went by, my work started getting tougher. I gave Yoichi certain level of autonomy in hopes that my paperwork would decrease, so I could spend more time at home. But that didn't happen, right? Not at all, in fact, it seemed that there was even more work to do. And so, tired from tedious signing that never backfired before, I let my guard down. I started signing all papers that Yoichi gave me without paying much attention to their content. Why do I feel like I know where this is going? Izuku said nervously. Yup, little by little, I signed away all that we owned without realizing. Our home, cars, stocks. I was robbed of everything that Yoichi could take. On top of that, the company started taking notice of false controversies that were appearing out of nowhere. Things like me committing tax fraud, numerous accusations of 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗍𝗪 and more. So, they eliminated my contract. I was jobless, my family was kicked out of our own home and pretty much hated by community. The only reason why we managed to survive was because Chiho convinced me to open a last resort bank account for such situation. Izuku was looking at his grandfather, shocked by what he just heard. That would be about it. All that happened afterwards was me and Chiho getting a divorce, with Chiho taking Kotaro and me taking your mother, along with last few attempts to get back into industry before admitting defeat and getting an office job to raise Inko. 𝗧𝗪 said, looking down. So that's why you are so worried? Izuku said as he got up and crouched in front of his grandfather. Grandpa, look at me, he gently said. 𝗧𝗪 slowly looked up, surprised by his grandson's expression. Izuku looked at him with a warm, compassionate smile, the same one he witnessed so many times, but there was something different this time. I understand that you are worried about me after something like that. I understand that you don't want me to end up like you. Izuku said as he held his grandfather's hand. But you must understand. I wasted years, living in a fantasy that was never meant to come true. I can see it clearly now, but it gave me new dream, one that is within my arm's reach. I just can't let myself give up again when I am so close. Izuku let go of 𝗧𝗪's hand and stood up. 𝗧𝗪 looked up on his grandson, towering over him. In that moment he realized it. It wasn't Izuku's smile that changed, but rather it was Izuku himself who changed. From Izuku's demeanor and words, he could tell that he was no longer speaking to a naive child he once knew, but a confident young man. Are you truly sure this is what you want? 𝗧𝗪 asked, looking straight into Izuku's eyes. More than I ever was, Izuku replied. Even if it might cost you your life. Izuku clenched his fist. I will rather live a short life of glory than a long life of mediocrity. 2. Then are you ready to make sacrifices to achieve your goal? Izuku stopped and looked at his grandfather. If it is necessary. 𝗧𝗪 looked at Izuku's absolutely serious face. There is no denying now, you truly are child of my bloodline. 𝗧𝗪 said as he stood up and placed his hand on Izuku's shoulder. You used to be such obedient child, yet now you are acting so stubborn and stupid. I am impressed, my boy. Izuku was shocked by his grandfather's comment. Follow me, 𝗧𝗍𝗃 said, going to the next room, followed by Izuku. 𝗧𝗍𝗃 kept going trough his stuff, while Izuku wasn't sure what to say in this situation anymore. Here it is, 𝗧𝗍𝗃 said as he showed Izuku a middle-sized box. Listen, I know that you will go trough this, no matter what I say, he said as he handed the box to Izuku. But please, promise me that you will never let your guard down. Izuku looked at his grandfather with reassuring smile. I swear I will be careful. I will do everything I can to make I won't repeat your mistakes. 𝗧𝗍𝗃 smiled at his grandson. Good, I hope you really mean it, he thought. Well then open it, kid. Izuku opened up the box, but the content of the box was rather unexpected. A mask. After Yoichi betrayed me, I spent one more year trying to get back into industry. 𝗧𝗍𝗃 pointed at the mask. My last attempt at comeback, theater play Bronze Lion. This was mask of the main character of that play. The whole thing completely flunked and I was forced to finally give up. I stole this mask from props as a last reminder that I gave it my all. Izuku was at verge of crying. Grandpa, I want you to have it. If you truly believe in what you are doing right now, then I will support you. Izuku put the mask down and tightly embraced his grandfather. You are the best grandpa ever, he whispered. Izuku was sitting on the floor of his room, surrounded by things like paint, glue, and such. Okay, it is almost ready. I just need to finish the eyes, he thought, remembering the conversation with his grandfather. //flashback/forward/. Well, I will be going then. Thank you for everything, Grandpa. Izuku said. Oh yes, before you go, I should warn you, 𝗧𝗍𝗃 said. What is it? You should probably make some changes to that mask. Like I said before, I kinda stole it from the theater, so I would like to avoid unnecessary lawsuits in my age. Yeah, that does sound like something to be careful about. Alright then, I will make some adjustments to it then. Sure, go crazy, kid, 𝗧𝗍𝗃 said, chuckling. Also, are you really sure you want me to come along to look at your contract? He asked seriously. Yup, I think it will be for the best. I mean, you do know how these things work and all, so it would be comforting if I could rely on your judgment. Izuku said back. Alright, then call me once you know the date. I will //present time // and that should do it. Now I just have to wait for the glue to cool down, Izuku thought as he finished his upgrade of the mask. Ring. Izuku quickly grabbed his phone. Oh, it's Mr. Nakano. He realized and picked up the call. Hello Midoriya. I am calling to let you know that the paperwork for you is ready, 𝗵𝗲 said. Really? That's great, Izuku said. Alright, I will send you the location for the meeting in a moment. So come this Thursday at, let's say 5. Do you agree? Sounds good to me. Alright then, I will see you later, Midoriya. Same he. Oh wait, I have one more thing I need to tell you. What is it? 𝗵𝗲 asked. You see, one of my family members wants to come along to look at the contract with me. Is that alright with you? 𝗵𝗲 was silent for a few seconds before he answered. Of course. That won't be an issue. I don't like that hesitation there. Thank you, Grandpa, for warning me to be careful. Izuku thought. Thank you, that will be all from me then. Very well, I am looking forward to Thursday, Midoriya. Same here, sir, Izuku said as 𝗵𝗲 hung up. That's one thing out of the way, let's see how this turned out. Izuku mumbled as he picked up his new mask. It doesn't really look all that much different from the original, but at least my eyes will now be covered and the padding should make it a bit more comfortable to wear, Izuku thought, proud of what he managed to do. Now we'll just have to wait for Thursday. In the meantime, I will just work on another song. Can't slow down when I just barely started. And thus, Izuku sat down to his table and got back to work. Before Izuku processed it, Thursday came. He was sitting in his grandfather's car as he was driving trot the streets towards their destination. You nervous, kid? 𝗧𝗍𝗃 asked his grandson. Izuku rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, listen, since you invited me to make sure you won't accidentally sell your soul, I have to make this clear. If I see anything fishy in those papers, we are either asking for re-edit or turning it down. Do I make myself clear? Yes, I wouldn't ask this of you if I wanted it differently. Izuku replied. We are here, 𝗧𝗍 said as he parked the car. They both stepped out of 𝗧𝗍's car. Also, I should mention this. I told Mr. Nakano that you were the one who wanted to come along. Izuku said. 𝗧𝗍 chuckled. What happened with, I think he is trustworthy. I think there is a certain line between trust and naivety. Isn't that what you warned me about? Izuku asked with a smirk. 𝗧𝗍 patted his grandson's head. I am glad you took it to heart. Well, let's go. Izuku and his grandfather finally climbed up all the stairs up to 15th floor. Reason? The elevator was broken, so they had no other choice. Anyways, they finally reached the Nakano's apartment, with Marwa already standing in the door. Hello Midoriya. Glad you could make it, Marwa said. I apologize for the elevator. Some crazy seance guy from next door was doing his experiments and blew it up when he tried getting rid of it few hours ago. He explained. 5, it's quite alright, sir. Izuku said. Marwa looked at 𝗧𝗍. You must be the person Izuku told me about. Pardon my rudeness, my name is Marwa Nakano. Marwa said, extending his hand to 𝗧𝗍. 𝗧𝗍 Midoriya, Izuku's grandfather. Thank you for accepting my intrusion. 𝗧𝗍 said, accepting Marwa's handshake. Please come in, Marwa said as they went inside the penthouse. Make yourselves comfortable and I will go for the papers, he said as he quickly pointed at sofa and left. They sat down, looking around. This brings back some memories, 𝗧𝗍 said. I don't remember you ever telling me you lived in a penthouse like this, Izuku said. Maybe not, but this rich guy vibe it has is familiar for sure. Izuku chuckled. I can't argue with that. Two of them continued their conversation until Marwa finally came back with a pen and few papers. Here you go Midoriya. Sign this up and you will be officially one of our own, Marwa said as he handed the papers to Izuku. Thank you, just give us a moment to read it, Izuku said. Of course, Marwa said as he sat across them. Izuku and 𝗧𝗍 read one paper after another for few minutes, until they were finally done. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. What about you, Grandpa? Izuku asked. 𝗧𝗍 laughed and looked at Marwa. I will admit you got me. I honestly wasn't expecting you wouldn't try to scam the kid. I almost feel like a jackass for doubting you, 𝗧𝗍 said as he stopped laughing. Marwa smiled. I understand that worry, but it's my personal policy not to antagonize people I want to work with, no matter the circumstances. I see. Well kid, I can tell you this one is safe from what I can tell, 𝗧𝗍 told Izuku. Izuku smiled back at him. Okay, he simply replied and filled out all the papers. Then I will be in your care from now on, he said, looking at Marwa. Marwa nodded to him. I am very much looking forward to this partnership, he said as he looked at 𝗧𝗍 once more. By the way, I just have to ask. Are you perhaps the 𝗧𝗪𝗍 Midoriya? By the way, I just have to ask. Are you perhaps the 𝗧𝗪𝗍 Midoriya? 𝗧𝗍 looked at Marwa for a moment, slightly surprised. However, that didn't last long as he chuckled. Now that's a nickname I haven't heard for decades, he said. Marwa looked at 𝗧𝗍 in awe. I thought so. It really is you, he said as he smiled. Izuku was looking at them both, confused by their exchange. What do you mean by 𝗧𝗪𝗍 Midoriya? Izuku asked curiously. Marwa looked at Izuku. It seems like you don't know. Young man, your grandfather is a legend in the industry. He was known for playing only in action movies and done every stunt on his own, Marwa said with stars in his eyes. Yeah, those were the times, 𝗧𝗍 said. I know that part, but why 𝗧𝗪𝗍? During one of my stunts, one of the explosion team members kinda overdid it with the effects. I ended up with completely messed up right leg. Of course, since we had medics with healing quirks there, my legs were back together in no time, but it did leave a scar, 𝗧𝗍 said as he rolled up his pants to reveal a scar. So, that's where the nickname came from, 𝗧𝗍 said as he covered the scar again and looked at Marwa. What I want to know now is where did you hear about that nickname? Only people from the studio knew about it. Marwa scratched the back of his head. You see, my father worked as a cameraman for some of your movies. I happened to overhear it during one of your movie shootings. Is that so? 𝗧𝗍𝗍 though for a moment before he realized something. Wait, are you Kazuto's kid? 𝗵𝗃 looked surprised. You remember my father? He asked. Yeah, the guy was real lifesaver. We even went out to drink together few times. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 said smiling. How is he doing these days? Car accident 10 years ago, 𝗵𝗃 said looking down. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 was surprised by this. I see, I am sorry to hear that. It's fine. It actually makes me happy to hear that people still remember him. 𝗵𝗃 said and got up. On that note, could you please come along? Sure. Izuku and 𝗧𝗍𝗍 said in unison and stood up. They followed 𝗵𝗃 to the next room. I have to say, I really admired your work as a child, Mr. Midoriya. Truth be told, you were my inspiration to get into entertainment industry. 𝗵𝗃 said nervously as looked at near wall. Every time I had a bad day, I looked at this. One Izuku and 𝗧𝗍𝗍 looked at the wall to see an old movie poster. Unkillable soldier, now that takes me back. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 said in awe, looking at the poster in perfect condition. He then noticed something in the corner. Is that? Sure is. You might not remember it, but you signed me that poster on the day of premiere. You might be right, I signed that day so many things that I most likely forgot about it next second. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 admitted. Then again, it was never about knowing people. It was about leaving behind something that people will remember you by the fact that you still have this. It gives me a sense that it wasn't all for nothing. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 smiled at 𝗵𝗃. Thank you. They continued to talk for 30 more minutes, until they came to an agreement that they should leave. It was an honor to meet you, Mr. Midoriya, 𝗵𝗃 said. Likewise. It has been a long time since I had such pleasant chat. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 replied and looked at Izuku. We will be going now. Izuku bowed. Thank you for making time for me today, sir. Please, drop the sir. We are colleagues now, so just call me 𝗵𝗃. All right, 𝗵𝗃. Izuku said with a smile and shook hands with him. Izuku and 𝗧𝗍𝗍 then left. 𝗵𝗃 was grinning from ear to ear. Oh my god, I just talked with 𝗧𝗍𝗍 Midoriya. I know that kid was good news, but this is beyond my expectations. You calm down. This is amazing, but you have to keep your 𝗧𝗃 for, who was it, Dad? 𝗵𝗃 jumped up a bit from his daughter's interruption of his inner monologue. Oh, let's say he is my new co-worker. It is now Tuesday and Izuku's last class just ended. Over the last few days, he had to hammer out some details with 𝗵𝗃 regarding things like his stage name and his previous song's ownership. All that got resolved pretty smoothly thanks to 𝗵𝗃's support. Izuku packed his things way before the bell rang, so he was ready to go while everyone was still packing. He stopped in the doorway and looked at his classmates. By the way, guys, I am leaving this garbage school today for good. Izuku yelled. One of his classmates looked at him for a moment. Huh. They quickly processed the information with shock. Even Bakugo and his lackeys couldn't believe it. Just saying, so you won't be surprised when I won't be here tomorrow. Anyways, see you forever, guys. He nonchalantly said and started leaving. As he was leaving the classroom, he thrown to his classmates a notebook titled, Midoriya's Thoughts, and left without any explanation. One Izuku was going through the school hallway with a smirk, thinking about his classmates' faces when they will read the notebook. He bought that notebook just yesterday and spent the entire day writing there everything he thought about people in his school. Both good and bad, mostly bad. Anyone he could remember, his classmates, random bullies, even teachers had their names in there. With that, Izuku left the school grounds, looking at his old school one last time. Goodbye forever. It was Wednesday morning at 𝗵𝘃𝗍 Junior High. Students were going in through the school gates, one of them being brown-haired girl, Miku Nakano. I really don't want to be here, but Dad would be worried if I skipped school. I just have to bear with this for a bit longer. Miku thought, rubbing her left arm. She slowly made her way to the classroom. Just as she sat down, the bell rang and teacher came in. All right, before we start today, I have an announcement. Teacher said as the class started to whisper. So, starting today, a new transfer student will be joining this class. A transfer student. At this time of a year. Now, quiet down, you can come in. Teacher yelled. The classroom doors slowly opened as a green-haired boy with emerald eyes stepped inside. "Hi," the boy said, waving at the class. "My name is Izuku Midoriya. I hope we can get along for the last months that we have. Seems decent enough. He's cute. No way he's surviving for long." I said quiet. Teacher yelled, silencing the class, and looked around. "You can go sit behind Miss Nakano over there," he said, pointing to the back of the classroom. Miku shyly raised her hand. "Yes, sir," Izuku said and started going to his seat. Two ginger-haired boys looked at each other and smirked. One of them then set his leg to trip Izuku. Izuku was, however, already used to these tricks. "Just 1 minute and I am already a target. Guess I just have to show them not to mess with me. I refuse to be anyone's punching bag anymore," he thought. Just as he was about to trip, he quickly stepped on the ginger's leg. The ginger kid was in pain, but had to 𝗧𝗵𝗃 it up in order to not get caught. He looked up at Izuku angrily, but was met with quick soul-piercing glare before Izuku looked in front of himself once more. Izuku sat down on his chair with an innocent smile. "Very well, let's start our lesson," teacher said and started his lecture. Izuku was thinking, how can I start a conversation? I didn't have an actual friend for years. How do I approach her without looking creepy? Izuku was screaming internally in agony, trying to figure out how to talk with Miku. Izuku's first lesson of the day finally ended. "That's all for today," teacher said, packing his things. "Also, Miss Nakano, could you show your new classmate around the school?" "1. Yes, sir," Miku replied quietly. Teacher nodded and left. "Yes, thank you, teach. I am sure there will be a chance for us to talk now." Izuku cheered internally. Miku and Izuku got up and started leaving. Miku, however, looked back at her female classmates, who were staring at her with jealousy and hate. Miku's eyes changed from blue to orange. Izuku noticed it and looked at the class, however nothing seemed wrong anymore. With that, Izuku and Miku left. Ugh, why did that old 𝗵𝗃𝗃 have to call her out of all people? Barely here and she's already seducing him. She is so gonna get it today. The two gingers from before approached them. Now ladies, are you even sure that guy is worth your time?" one of them asked with a smirk. "And that was principal's office. That should be all of the most important places you will need to know," Miku said with Izuku walking next to her. Izuku smiled. "I see, thank you for showing me around Nakano," Izuku said. "This place is so familiar to 𝗧𝗓. It's giving me some unpleasant flashbacks already," he was thinking. Miku looked at him and flinched as her eyes changed from blue to orange. I am sorry," Izuku was surprised by sudden apology. "Wait, why are you apologizing?" he asked, confused. Miku was trembling, not answering to Izuku's question. This made Izuku rather worried about what was happening. "What's happening, please tell me?" Izuku asked Miku. She looked into his eyes again and in few seconds managed to calm down. Sorry, I didn't mean to," she said, her voice timid and quiet. "I saw why you were angry, so I freaked out," she almost whispered as her eyes turned blue again. "Wait, is she a mind reader?" "No, she wouldn't blame herself if she knew what I was thinking about was my face, just easy to read. I should have really asked 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 about her quirk," Izuku was thinking. "And no, please, it wasn't like that at all. I just remembered few unpleasant memories. I apologize for scaring you." Izuku tried to reassure her. I see. Sorry for misunderstanding." Miku timidly apologized. Mental note 1. Very timid and apologetic nature. Next attempts at conversation will require more careful approach. Izuku thought. "Please, there is no need to apologize," Izuku sighed. "Looks like we will be late. Let's go," Izuku said, nodding to Miku. "That's all for today, class. We will see each other tomorrow," teacher said as he left the classroom. Everybody started packing their things. "Hey Midoriya, you wanna walk home together?" Izuku's neighboring classmate asked him. Izuku hesitated for a moment. "I wanted to ask Nakano, but I shouldn't rush things or she might get suspicious," he thought. "Sure, I don't see why not Moroha," he answered. The two of them left the classroom. Izuku, however, couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. As far as he observed today, none of his classmates shown any hostility towards Miku. This is so weird. I was looking after her the whole day and nothing seemed wrong. Was 𝗵𝗃𝗲 just paranoid? No, are they just that good at hiding themselves? There is something fishy here and I will find out what it is. So yeah, that is my quirk. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said to Izuku as they left the school building. Wait, so you are telling me that your saliva is poisonous? Izuku said, surprised as he reached into his backpack. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, it's not something I am proud of, he said as he noticed Izuku was standing still behind him. Is something wrong, Midoriya? He nervously asked. Izuku looked at him with a cold smile. I kind of forgot my notebook in the class. I will be back in a minute, Izuku said as he turned around. You could just come for it tomorrow. Janitor doesn't touch these things, so you shouldn't worry about it. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said. I'll be back in a moment. I promise, Izuku said as he started running. Why does it feel like he didn't want me to go there? There shouldn't be anything wrong unless. Izuku was deep in thought as he was running through the hallways. As he was running to his class, he started hearing a faint sobbing. In that moment, his expression of worry became serious. Oh, they better fucking not. Izuku was almost at his classroom, but he slowed down. Alright, first I need a confirmation. Just slow and quiet. Nobody has to notice you. I will just stay behind the doors and see what is happening, he thought as he approached the door to his classroom. What the hell do you think you were doing, Beach? A feminine voice on the other side said. Just one day and you are already after Midoriya. You really are hopeless. Where? Another voice said as others started laughing. A loud clapping sound came from the classroom, along with a faint sobbing. Alright, that is more than enough for me to step in, Izuku thought. But first, I need to plan this. If I mess up, I could make things worse for Miku. Alright. They don't know I am quirkless, so I should be able to play that card. But I can't just barge inside. That would make me suspicious and Miku probably wouldn't trust me anymore, Izuku kept thinking as the sobbing from the classroom continued. Fine, that should be sufficient. I can't drag this out any longer. Izuku put up calm, collected expression and entered the classroom. Everybody in the room instantly noticed him and stared at him in shock. Okay, here goes, Izuku thought. Sorry guys. I forgot my notebook, so I had to come back for it, Izuku said, trying to act embarrassed as he observed the room. 6 girls, 5 guys and Miku on the ground. It looks like somebody hit her. Let's see how this plays out, he thought as he walked to his seat and opened his backpack. Everybody in the room, including Miku, was trying to get grasp on the current situation. One of the girls with short black hair and blue eyes then walked towards Izuku. By the way, what are you guys doing here, since classes are over? Izuku asked, looking for his notebook. Oh, just talking about where to go now. Black-haired girl replied, getting closer to him. I see, he said, trying to sound nervous and put his notebook into backpack. The girl then hugged him from behind. Say, would you like to tag along too? She said in flirty manner, lightly caressing his chest. Izuku froze in place. This kind of flirting reminded him of Ochako's behavior on their first date and he absolutely hated being reminded of those days. Reminiscing, he tightly clutched his fists. My, did I make your heart skip a beat? The girl said, giggling as she felt Izuku's heartbeat skyrocket. It's fine, I wouldn't mind if it is you, she whispered in his ear. Izuku clutched his left fist so strongly that it started slightly bleeding. He put his bloodied hand on the girl's hand. Let go, he said in cold, monotone voice as he lifted the girl's hands off his chest. He grabbed his backpack and started walking away. The girl, however, noticed the BLD he left on her hand. You're bleeding, she said. Izuku looked at his hand. I haven't even noticed. I guess eating explosions for lunch for years will make me slightly numb. How it's fine, I can use this to my advantage, he thought. Nobody in the room was moving. Izuku's behavior was far too strange for them to comprehend and just watched him approach Miku, BLD still dripping from his left hand. Izuku looked at trembling Miku for a moment. This situation looks far too familiar this time around. However, Izuku crouched to Miku and offered his right hand to her. There is someone willing to help you, he thought. It's not a good idea to sit on a dirty floor for long, Nakano, he said with a gentle smile, still offering his hand. Miku was hesitant for a moment, looking around the room. Regardless, she still slowly grabbed Izuku's hand and got up. Thank you, she whispered. No problem. Come on, if we hurry we can still catch an early bus, Izuku said as he gently led her out of the class before others could anyhow intervene. Izuku and Miku left the school grounds together. For a while now, they were walking down the street in silence. So, I don't know if this is a sensitive topic or not, but what do those guys have against you? Izuku asked Miku. Miku simply looked down, as if her mind was somewhere else. Don't want to talk about it, huh? Izuku said and sighed. Miku looked at him. It's fine, I wasn't expecting an answer anyways, Izuku said and looked at Miku. Just know, I am pretty sure I can guess what's going on here, so if you want, I could help you out. Izuku then looked around and saw a bus stop. I am guessing this is where we say our goodbyes. Izuku chuckled. I will see you tomorrow, Nakano, he said and left. Izuku finally got home after his first day at new school. Man, that was nerve-wracking. It looks like Miku really is getting bullied after all, Izuku thought as he was remembering the whole ordeal. I really didn't need to remember that beach again. Izuku sat down on his bed and took out his phone. Well, the best thing I can do now is report to 𝗵𝗃𝗲, he mumbled as he opened his contacts and dialed 𝗵𝗃𝗲's number. Mr. Nakano calling. Hello Izuku, what can I do for you? Hello 𝗵𝗃𝗲, I just came from my first day at Miku's school, so I figured you would like to know some details, Izuku said. I see, thank you for consideration. So, what did you find? 𝗵𝗃𝗲 asked. So far, I can pretty confidently confirm that Miku is really being bullied and I do have some names as well. I see, then send me those names and actually, I want to ask you to stay out of this, Izuku said. What do you mean, Izuku? We can't waste time on playing heroes here. I am aware. That's precisely why I want you to leave this to me. Squinting eyes face explain, if anybody will get even a slightest suspicion that Miku might have told you, they will make sure she pays big time. You doing anything would only make things worse for her. There was a short silence before 𝗵𝗃𝗲 spoke again. What are your chances to pull it off? He asked. Izuku sighed. Realistically, about 80%, Izuku said. And if you fail, I will most likely join your 𝗧𝗏 in beating, Izuku admitted. I see you have 2 weeks, then I will take charge, 𝗵𝗃𝗲 proposed. Very well. That sounds fair. Izuku accepted. Alright, now that that's settled. How is your next song coming along? I should have it ready by Sunday. Good, then come into the studio on Monday so we can get to work. Yes, sir. Goodbye. Goodbye and good luck, 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said as Izuku hung up. Izuku put away his phone and laid down on his bed. So I have 2 weeks, how probably not smart to accept so quickly, but I guess it's too late now, whatever, it's Wednesday, so I have 2 more school days to get a better idea, he thought and got up. In the meantime, I should probably finish my new song. New day has begun as Izuku was waiting in front of the school gate. Given what happened yesterday, I think it will be best to wait here for Miku. Who knows what others can do when they see her? He thought as he was looking through the crowd of students, searching for Miku. Midoriya, a familiar voice said, tapping his shoulder. Izuku quickly turned around to see Miku standing there. Nakano, you startled me, Izuku said with a smile. Are you waiting for someone? She asked. Well, yeah, for you, Izuku admitted, rubbing the back of his head. Mika's eyes flashed yellow for a second before turning back to blue. I see why, she shyly asked. I mean, we are friends. Is this not what friends do? Friends, Mika said. Yes, you don't want us to be friends. No, I mean yes, but Miku was having a hard time answering Izuku's question. Izuku was however able to understand from her reaction what she meant. Izuku lightly chuckled. It's fine, Nakano. No need to be so nervous. Okay, she said in quiet, embarrassed tone. Come on then, we don't want to be late, Izuku said and went through the school gates, followed by Miku. Did her eyes just change to yellow for a moment? I remember them changing to orange. Am I just colorblind? Izuku was thinking. Can her eyes change into more colors of color spectrum than just orange? That seems most likely, but then why is it then orange most of the time? Midoriya. Miku stuttered as she tried to talk to him. Yes. Miku was hesitant to talk for a bit. A lot of people are staring, she said. Izuku looked around to see almost everybody looking at him and Miku. Some people looked worried, some disgusted, and some were simply staring blankly. Looks like we are both targets now. Good thing I reported to 𝗵𝗃 yesterday, because I can already feel my chances dropping to barely 60% now. Izuku thought. Just ignore them and keep moving. It's not like any of them are brave enough to try anything right here in the open. Izuku reassured Miku. Right? Mika said, trying to look away from the people. Izuku and Miku walked through the school hallways until they finally reached their classroom. As they walked in, they could both feel the unfriendly glares of their classmates. Izuku looked around the classroom as he was approaching his seat. Even 𝗵𝗃 looks pissed. Good thing though, I didn't like that freakish positive energy he was radiating yesterday. Miku was getting visibly nervous. Izuku, however, just looked completely calm. That was until he saw his desk. 𝗳𝗏𝗍𝗍 𝗧𝗟. Izuku busted out laughing when he saw a number of insults written over his desk. Oh my god, they freaking made different letters in lowercase and uppercase. This is way too adorable. Look at that variety, these guys sure have such rich vocabulary. Izuku was thinking as he continued laughing. 1. Oi, what are you laughing at, freak? 3. Oi, what are you laughing at, freak? Izuku looked around to see one of Ginger twins looking at him with an angry expression. Izuku tried to stop laughing so he could reply. Sorry this. Unfortunately, he still wasn't able to speak without getting cut off by his own chuckling. Out with it, idiot. Ginger yelled again as he stepped closer to him. Or are you too scared? For Izuku wasn't paying much attention, but now he finally stopped laughing. Oh no. I am just amazed at how quickly you showed your real colors. I would expect you to play nice for like, maybe a week or two and then go after me, but to come clear right after the first day. Now that takes real moron to pull off. Izuku said with a confident smirk. Oh god, I am so nervous, but I have to do this. If I present myself as a threat, they should at least start considering if Miku is a good target under my protection. Now, just don't do anything stupid, Ginger, or I will most likely let out my anger from Aldra on you. Izuku was thinking to himself, hoping that the Ginger guy would back off. Why you little dash, alright, everyone to your desks please. The homeroom teacher yelled across the room. Ginger guy came closer to Izuku for a moment and whispered. Me, rooftop after school. You better show up. He said and went back to his desk. Izuku sat down and sighed. Great, now what genius? He thought as the lesson started. And so, last class of the day ended. During the entire day, the Ginger twins kept glaring at Izuku with hatred in their eyes. Of course, Izuku's performance wasn't too affected by their intimidation. Miku, however, was visibly worried about what is going to happen. She managed to sneak few notes to him, asking if he will be fine. However, Izuku was very vague with his answers, yet he tried to say yes. Now that the teacher left the classroom, the Ginger twins turned to Izuku, who was packing his things. You know what now, Midoriya? One of them said with evil smile as he pointed upwards. Izuku sighed. Yeah, I know. No need to be so pushy, but... he said as he finished packing his things. Why you dash? Calm down, Kaito. The other Ginger said, putting his hand on his brother's shoulder. Tisk, everybody started to leave classroom, until there was only Izuku, Miku and 𝗵𝗃. You here to keep an eye on me or something? Izuku asked 𝗵𝗃. He nodded. Yup, you pissed them off too much, Midoriya. Not intentionally, but it will have to do. Izuku thought as he started to leave classroom. Oh yeah, Nakano, they want you there too. 𝗵𝗃 said as Izuku almost closed the door. What? // scene change / on the rooftop of 𝗵𝘃 Middle School, a crowd of people was formed. Not just from Izuku's class, but also from other classes. You know, I am starting to think he might not show up, one of the students said. Kaito chuckled. He will. He doesn't have a choice here. I'm wondering why are you looking forward to this so much? Kaido's brother asked. Oh come on, you want to beat that guy up just as much as me. Don't pretend like you are the angel between us, 𝗧𝗍𝗧. Kaito remarked with a smirk. One 𝗧𝗍𝗧 chuckled at his brother's truthful comment just as the rooftop doors opened. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. I knew you won't bail on the last minute. Kaito said with confident smirk. What do you want, gingerbread? Izuku said as he was pushed forward by Midoriya closer to twins with Miku following closely behind them. Isn't it obvious? We are here to show you what happens to those who side with the 𝗧𝗍𝗧 said, pointing at Miku. Her eyes started switching between orange and black color. Really now, I want to see 𝗳𝗏. Before Izuku finished his sentence, Kaito punched him across the face with such force that Izuku fell to his knees. Not so witty now, you little 𝗧𝗍𝗧 said and punched Izuku's stomach. Miku was about to run to him, but she was held back by Midoriya. Izuku on the other hand spit some blood on the ground and looked Kaito dead in the eyes with a smirk. He lightly chuckled. You know what's funny, I had this one girl in my old school that picked on me, her quirk turned her body into a RBB. Wanna know the best part? Izuku said looking at 𝗧𝗧𝗧. Even she punched harder than you two morons, he. Izuku laughed as Kaito grabbed him by the collar. Looks like I will have to beat those jokes out of you, he said as he raised his fist. Kaito however stopped when he noticed that Izuku grabbed his collar too. Okay Tenko, please let those self-defense techniques you taught me work. Izuku prayed in his mind. Kaito was confused by what Izuku was trying, and before he could punch him again, Izuku headbutted him, knocking Kaito's balance slightly off. This however wasn't the end, because Izuku continued to headbutt Kaito over and over, until his face was covered in his blood, yet still keeping tight grip on him to make sure he can't escape. 2. My head hurts a bit, but I'm sure he feels worse right now. Izuku was about to punch Kaito, but his hand was grabbed by 𝗧𝗧𝗧. I completely forgot he was here. Goddammit. Izuku thought and let go of Kaito. With his free hand, he tried to punch 𝗧𝗧𝗧, but he managed to dodge him. Kaito however was on a timeout now and got dragged away by his lackeys. Izuku looked at 𝗧𝗧𝗧. So, you want to join your brother? Izuku said as he stared at 𝗧𝗧𝗧. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 scoffed. That moron always charges headfirst without thinking. Serves him right honestly. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 remarked as he cracked his knuckles. That being said, I won't go easy on you like he did. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 then tried to punch Izuku, but he managed to dodge. However, when Izuku tried to grab 𝗧𝗧𝗧, he felt a sudden surge of power paralyzing him for a second. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 took advantage of this and kicked Izuku in the stomach. What the hell was that? I couldn't move at all there. Izuku thought as he looked at 𝗧𝗧𝗧. Was that his quirk? Only one way to find out. Izuku attempted to punch 𝗧𝗧𝗧, but again his body stopped for a moment. Now however, Izuku could feel that the power surging through him felt rather familiar. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 punched Izuku away and looked at him with smirk. What's wrong? Can't handle my quirk? He said in mocking manner. Say, do you happen to have paralysis-based quirk? Izuku asked looking at 𝗧𝗧𝗧. Took you long enough to figure it out. I was expecting something more from someone of your reputation. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 said. What does he mean by that? Izuku thought, uncertain what 𝗧𝗧𝗧 was talking about. Since I was so nice to show you my quirk, why don't you finally show yours? Or is it perhaps that you can't Deku? Izuku's eyes widened as he heard that nickname. That one thing nobody in here should be aware of. Did I strike a nerve? Are you really that sensitive about a nickname from your friends at Aldra? 𝗧𝗧𝗧 kept talking. He knows. 𝗧𝗏 knows. Izuku was thinking as his blood started to boil with anger. You're walking on a thin ice here. Better stop before Before what? Before you use your quirk. I want to see you try without one, you quirkless loser. 𝗧𝗧𝗧 interrupted Izuku's attempted threat. At this moment, Izuku knew his best advantage was out of the window. Everybody now knew that there is nothing Izuku has that could defend him, which was a mistake. Fine, this guy wants to make himself look like big shot. I'll humor him this far, but I am done first. If his quirk can paralyze me, then how far can he reach with it? Or, Does it work with non-living objects too? Izuku was thinking. I might have an idea. Izuku unbuttoned his uniform's left sleeve and went for another punch. Once again, Izuku was stopped in his tracks. What he wanted to accomplish here, however, wasn't to deal damage, but to observe the effect of paralysis. My sleeve still moved even when paralyzed. Good, this should be enough to assume he can only paralyze my body. Given that he always stops me barely before my punches land, it should mean that his range is just few inches from his body. That means the best strategy would be to attack him from range or to use longer weapon. Izuku was thinking as he looked around for something he could use. Something with range, even better, something heavy too. Izuku looked around even more when he finally figured out what could help. Izuku smiled and turned away from Daichi. Okay, time out. I want to check what time it is, he said, but one guy in the crowd got in his way to his stuff. No time out here, he said and tried to push Izuku back. Izuku, however, stepped back and then punched him in the face. And I say I am checking what time it is. Got it, he said and started going through his backpack. He finally found his phone and put it back. Okay, thanks for waiting, he said as he grabbed his backpack and went back to face Daichi. You better start trying, or I just might trip you over the edge, Deku. Daichi taunted Izuku. Izuku rushed at Daichi, still holding his backpack, and swung it. Daichi tried to dodge it, but Izuku still managed to hit him in the head, knocking him to the ground. Are you insane, but? Daichi yelled at Izuku, who was simply staring at him with indifference. What are you babbling about? You can paralyze me and make me your punching bag, but I can't even use my own bag to smash your teeth in. Do you really think you are in any position to claim I am the insane one here? Izuku told him and swung his bag again, once more hitting Daichi's head. It's so easy to get you on your knees once your tricks are exposed. Bet you didn't think you will be getting destroyed by a quirkless 𝗧𝗍𝗃. Izuku smashed Daichi's face time and time again, pushing him to the edge of the rooftop. With one last swing upwards, Daichi crumbled to the edge, his head looking down on the pavement. Izuku stepped on his throat with minor pressure, so he would be sure not to do anything stupid. Now then, let's talk for real now. I have a pretty strong feeling that you don't like me, so let's go with this idea. You will leave me and Nakano over there alone for the rest of this year. In return, I won't do anything to you guys, and after this year, you won't hear from me ever again. Sounds like a deal, Izuku said with a kind smile on his face as he stepped slightly harder on Daichi's neck. You could see few tears running down Daichi's face as it was slowly turning blue, before he finally gave up and started nodding in agreement with Izuku's proposal. Izuku finally stepped off Daichi's throat. Marvelous. I am glad to see we can agree like reasonable people here, Izuku said as he turned around and looked at everyone else who watched them. It was clear to Izuku just from their scared expressions alone that his plan was a success. Now if you excuse us, me and Nakano have a bus to catch. After knocking out Ginger twins, Izuku and Miku left the school grounds together. However, Miku was silently walking behind Izuku. There was an awkward silence between them, with Izuku not knowing what to talk about right now. Even if he didn't talk, all he really could do right now was hope that he solved Miku's problem for good. Miku suddenly stopped. Midoriya, she said hesitantly. Izuku turned around to look at her. Yes. Be honest, did my father hire you for this? She asked him. I am grateful to him, but this still doesn't feel right. We know each other for just few days, yet he was willing to take all those hits. He could have just left me and be fine. It doesn't feel real, Miku thought as she was looking at Izuku, who was simply staring at her, not saying anything. Izuku sighed. I would be lying if I said it wasn't partially true, he admitted. Looks like I was too obvious. I guess coming clear is the best option right now, he thought. Mika's eyes turned dark blue as she looked down, very close to crying. I see, he really did just help me for money. Why did I even got my hopes up? Mika kept thinking. But that was only at the beginning. Plus, I wasn't really told to help you at all, Izuku added to his statement, catching Miku's attention. 𝗬𝗧𝗟𝗏. Look, I know we don't know each other all that well, but for all the time we had, as little as it is, I really enjoyed your company. You've been very helpful and nice to me since I transferred. For all that it counts, I do genuinely think of you as a friend. I understand if you don't believe me. If you don't want to talk to me anymore, I won't force you," he said and turned around. "We should be far enough from school now. If you want to separate here, just say the word," Izuku offered, and started walking. Miku stood frozen in place for a second. Even though she suspected this much, it still surprised her how quickly Izuku admitted her father's influence. However, it didn't take long for her to snap out of it. She quickly caught up to him and grabbed his hand. "Wait, please," she said, looking down. "Thank you for everything." Miku looked up to Izuku's face, who had expression of rather obvious surprise. "Even if my father pays you, it doesn't change the fact that you got injured for my sake," she said quietly. "So, I want us to stay friends." She raised her voice slightly with her cheeks turning lightly red from embarrassment. I see," Izuku said nervously. In a moment, a small smile appeared on his face. "I am glad." All right, great." After they affirmed their newfound friendship, Izuku and Miku ended up talking with each other for a bit, before they finally had to go their separate ways. Izuku was sitting on his bed, patching up some minor injuries from today's fight. Even if he doesn't really feel it, he decided it would be safest to take care of it anyways. "Okay, this one kinda stings. I should have been smarter about this," Izuku sighed as he finished treating himself. "I really hope today would go smoother. Now I have to hope that Miku's problem is at least partially solved. Maybe it would also be good to hope that I won't get in trouble for beefing up my classmates right after I transferred. Oh well, I just have to hope situation won't escalate that far. I want us to stay friends." Izuku remembered those words as various scenarios came to his mind. Whatever. Who cares if their parents will complain? I say this was worth it," Izuku thought as he got to his chair. "More importantly, I told 𝗵𝘃𝗧𝗏 that I will have new song prepared on Monday. I need to finish this thing in 3 days." Izuku freaked out. Hate deadlines. It was now Friday. Izuku and Miku were on the rooftop, eating their lunch together. So far, nobody tried to pick a fight today. Even our classmates were a lot more quiet than before. Could it be I went overboard? Izuku was thinking as he ate his sandwich. "Midoriya," Miku called out, distracted Izuku. "Why yes," Izuku nervously replied. "You just spaced out. Is something bothering you?" she asked. "No, not really. I kinda wanna ask you something if that's fine," Izuku asked with curious face. "Sure. Can you tell me what is your quirk?" Miku was surprised by the question, although she didn't have any problem with sharing this. "It's called colored expression. You probably picked up on it already, but it basically changes my eye color depending on my feelings. There is also another effect. It's that I can also see those colors on other people," Miku explained. I see. Do you see my eyes in different color or you pick the target?" he asked as he took out his notebook. "It's always working on everybody I can see. I just can't turn it off," Miku confessed as she looked down. "I don't even know your real eye color." "Green?" Miku looked at Izuku surprised. "My eyes are green in reality. Just to clarify," he said with a smile. Miku was genuinely surprised, but she lightly laughed. This is the first time she laughed since we met. She is kinda cute, Izuku thought. "I really like you. You're great. I enjoyed today." Izuku shook his head as he once again remembered his ex-girlfriend. "Stop it, Midoriya. Stop falling in love because people show you basic human decency," he screamed at himself internally. 5 rang. "I guess our time is up," Izuku remarked as the bell rang. "Yeah," Miku said as her smile faded. "Let's go then," Izuku said as he got up and looked at Miku. "For now, having just one normal friend is enough for me."